I'm just kidding. Yo, what is up, my friends? Welcome to another episode of Dostcast. मेरा नाम है Vinamre Kasana. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe because we release new episodes every Tuesday and Friday at 12 p.m. Indian Standard Time. अगर आप इस पॉडकास्ट को किसी ऑडियो प्लेटफॉर्म में सुन रहे हैं, make sure you give us 5 stars because we're the best in Bharat, obviously. आज के हमारे गेस्ट का नाम है अंश मेहरा. He's a UI UX designer who teaches UI UX in हिंदी ताकि सारे दर्शकों को UI UX का मजा मिल पाए. इसके बारे में एक बढ़िया बात यह है कि पूरे दिन ये घूमता है यहाँ से वहाँ, डिज़ाइन को स्टडी करता हुआ, फिजिकल डिज़ाइन को स्टडी करता हुआ, एंड हिज स्ट्रेंथ इज दैट ही is not merely just a designer, he also understands design की पीछे psychology क्या है, how you are being sold to, what happens when you start using design as a way to look at life. The episode with Ansh Mehra begins in 3, 2, 1. With the whole cyborg ultra-human movement, I'm just reminded of, have you watched Love, Death, Robots?
Oh, I've seen a few episodes.
You know the one, अभी नया season आया था, the one episode where ये लोग एक बहुत ही ठंडी आर्कटिक कॉलोनी में रहते हैं.
Okay.
One kid is not modded, quote unquote, बाकी सब modded होते हैं. So they have parts of machines inside them, and they use this एक special type, जैसे engine oil का नशे वाला equivalent क्या होगा as a pipe. They probably use that to get high and see stuff. And one of the things they do is एक whales होती हैं that hit the surface of the ground. बेसिकली आइस की शीट लगी हुई है पूरी, और वहाँ पे ऑयल रिफाइनरीज वगैरह हैं. दे गो दैट फार इनटू द सी एंड उसके बाद वेल्स हिट करती हैं. पहले दे थ्रू अ बंच ऑफ एक्सप्लोजिव इन द सी, राइट, ताकि वो वेल्स आएँ उधर. वो आती हैं एंड यू हैव टू बेसिकली द वे इट वर्क्स इज द वेल विल हिट ट्वाइस एट वन स्पॉट देन द नेक्स्ट, सो यू हैव टू रन आउट पेस द वेल एंड गो बैक टू लैंड or be submerged into the icy cold sea and die. ये लड़का, because he's not a cyborg, because he doesn't have the mods, has to struggle. तो उसका भाई उसे बचाता है, फिर वो उसे बचाता है. He's a human. And वो finally दिखा देता है through his bravery that he can also be acknowledged by this completely modded group of people, right? But the argument about being a cyborg that you were bringing up was interesting because मुझे भी ऐसा लगता है, just because एक्सट्रीमली फास्ट टेक्नोलॉजिकल इनोवेशन हो रही है उसका मतलब थोड़ी कि आप हर बिहेवियर को अडेप्ट करोगे अपनी ज़िंदगी के अंदर, वो भी अनकॉन्शियसली, इफ इट लुक्स कूल.
No, it's very important कि dude, the reason why we've grown so much is because we are not mechanical. If everything is very mechanical, सब कुछ आप ट्रैक कर रहे हो, सब कुछ आप रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हो, there is no element of surprise and randomness, which is so important just for being like creative and let life happen to you.
Right.
You should not rely too much on numbers. It is too bad.
तो मेरे को देख के बात कर सकता है, कैमरे को देखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है.
मैं वो देख रहा था, नैरोबी एयर इंडिया ने.
अच्छा, नैरोबी एयर इंडिया. अच्छा, ओके, यू आर सीइंग द डिज़ाइन. हाँ. अभी we had a lot of posters here, then we took them all down.
But why does it say Air India in Nairobi?
So Air India had this whole campaign, no? When Air India used to have lit campaigns back in the old traditional advertising age. तो जिस भी कंट्री के अंदर जाओगे,
that's the comic character जो लटके हुए हैं.
That's the Maharaja. That's the iconic Air India Maharaja.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. So Australia के लिए they have a mermaid on the sea feeding this guy something. Each country represents a kind of fantasy of what can happen to you. These are ads probably from the 70s. So Nairobi का है, कीनिया का है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया का है, इटली का है. इटली में he is sitting with, I believe, harp बजाने वाले लोग जो ट्यूनिक पहने हुए हैं, brown, because that's apparently like a culture in Italy. Really cool ads. Like this would probably work on me still than say whatever they do now.
But it's good that they're not selling something in specific.
Yeah,
right?
That's the appeal of those ads.
They're communicating something and not necessarily कि ये खरीद लो वो खरीद लो.
That's a soft sell, right? That's what you call it. Yeah. You do an awful lot of product design and you are always hanging out at different events. I had the privilege of understanding कि Almost Gods क्या है first when I saw your story, क्योंकि मुझे पता नहीं था. And yesterday I was wearing Almost Gods and I've been beginning to get into good, well-designed clothes. So I'd like to thank you for that. Yeah, and I'm just wondering कि why do you go to so many events?
It's ironical, right? Like I hang out with very few product designers. I try to hang out with people जो मेरे domain के बहुत दूर है. अब because it is so important to see कि बाहर के लोग क्या कर रहे हैं. And I had spent a lot of time in my engineering college तो क्या होता है कि आप एक सिमिलर बबल में रहते हो, आपको लगता है कि यही लाइफ है, ऐसे ही कमा सकते हैं, इतना ही कमा सकते हैं, लाइफ में बहुत मेहनत करोगे तो जाके वो एक पेचेक मिलेगा. And then you go to these Delhi parties, you meet people and you realize that people are earning revenues through very interesting ways. And you know, it's not just about कि मेहनत ही करनी है, tech ही है, engineering ही है. And secondly, I really love the way these people carry themselves. Like they
Who is
know
these people?
all these people who are in this Delhi ka circuit, and you would find the same people rotating again and again in all the clubs, right? And I don't buy too many clothes. You won't believe this. Like Almost Gods ka, I'm a big fan because of Dhruv. So Dhruv is the guy who's been making all this entire thing. And you know, अगर आप किसी भी brand की success को देखते हो, you always try to figure out कि what are people looking for. The word Almost Gods, yeah, there's one more brand, Rising Among, Ria Khanna. You want to be associated with that sensation, saying that I am rising.
Yeah.
Right? I have almost peaked that perfection.
Yeah, it's very interesting because yesterday we were exhausted from multiple recordings and I had just gone back to my friend's place and कहता भाई यार उसने भी ऑलमोस्ट गॉड्स पहनी हुई थी. कहता यार आज तो यार हम गॉड लाइक नहीं रह पाए because we were just so tired. But the idea, there is a kind of playful pride and arrogance in the fact कि बस भगवान बनने वाला है. We're just right there. That is very interesting. That just gives you the sort. You're basically a demigod, and I like their tagline. क्या है? Medieval institutions, ancient technologies, some shit like that. It's very cool. It's a feeling. It's really a feeling. Yeah.
It's that sensation that you know you sort of become better once you're wearing this. I love what jaywalking does as well. So their tagline is not the final logo. Because people relate to that, because people are working on their stuff and they also don't have something which is final.
Correct.
Right? So they love it.
Also, jaywalking is a term for illegally crossing the road, which also like probably तुम्हारे अंदर की rebellious spirit को वो hit करता होगा. I never analyze these brands like that. That is very interesting. You know, I'm pretty sure when you walk into a room, the first thing you see is the design, because that's what you do for a living, right? And I sent you to Subko coffee. What was your experience like in Bandra?
Amazing.
All the design for getting there is complicated.
Oh yeah. मुझे वो दिखा नहीं था पहली बारी में. But one of the designers from Subko came to my event. तो उससे I connected. And then मैंने उनका एक gift hamper था, मैंने वो भिजवाया, तो जिस पे भी भिजवाया वो बहुत खुश हुआ. And फिर indirectly मैं फिर तुझे ही thanks बोल रहा था कि चलो ठीक है इसने reference.
भाई क्या सीन है यार, तू gift बड़े भिजवाता है. Is that something you picked up through, I don't know, your design time? Like why do you send gifts? It's a very peculiar, it's a great thing. I enjoyed it. But you do that a lot.
Yeah, I've learned it from my father. I have seen incredible things happen to him simply because of his habit of giving away. There are multiple reasons why I gift. पहला तो यही कि it sort of helps you establish a connection, right? क्योंकि मेरे लिए travel करना, physically मिलना बहुत difficult है. So it is just my way of sending that letter, because that letter is more important, more than the gift. That letter is very important because most people sort of send a text message.
Yeah, which has, I mean, there are two versions. People like Gary Vee say कि ये भी valuable है, letter ही क्यों valuable है, physical है. But I do believe that if you have physical something, it requires you, it forces you to make a place for storing it or throwing it away.
It's in the genetics, no?
हाँ.
We value things जो किसी ने हाथ से बनाए हुए, because we've been valuing the same for years and years.
Right.
If I had sent you the same message कहीं WhatsApp पे या Instagram पे, थोड़ा सा वो valuable लगता.
I wouldn't go and revisit it. Oh, मेरे को अंश ने ये देखा था, unless you were my crush, probably, like that was the only exception. And even then, like कितनी बार एक message को पढ़ोगे, like it gets stale.
Yeah.
For all the arguments for NFTs, from a simply economic standpoint, they're brilliant. But if I cannot hold the art or touch the art,
it's not
like
tangible.
What we have in the back, right? There's no point in, like, beyond the economics, there's really no point in owning it.
No, it's all about senses, right? So what are we all looking for? We want to sort of stimulate our senses. When you print this poster, you can see it, you can touch it. NFTs and digital data में क्या, it's just visual and intellectual, right? But when you buy something, when you hold something, कपड़ों का भी यही issue है, right? It's physical. मैं NFT पे टी-शर्ट खरीदूँ versus मैं टी-शर्ट पहन के घूमूँ, बाकी लोग मुझे देख रहे हैं, मैं उनके भी reactions real time में gauge कर पा रहा हूँ. Look at all the senses that I'm triggering, right? So most of our purchases are targeted at senses.
What about DALL-E then? Have you used it?
Oh yeah, I mean I haven't used it, but I've been seeing the demos. It's
Yeah, I've
incredible.
used it. It's stunning. So that's when I realized जो लोग उसे use करेंगे, they need two things. They need good writing so that they can write prompts, because machines बड़े specific तरीके से prompt समझती हैं. It's like a syntax. Like good writing is like क्या बोलते हैं, programming language का syntax होता है, right?
Yeah.
But then एक colon लगा के, semicolon लगा के, you also specify the style. So if you don't know painting styles, you're at odds with someone who does. So they can use DALL-E better off than you can. I had made a polar bear on a surfboard in Whirly style painting, and it actually made it. It was beautiful, because Whirly style painting अंदर you would assume कि जो subject होता है, it's typically Maharashtra के आसपास के tribal representations, right? But a polar bear on a surfboard, like that could happen. So it's काफी interesting था. I'm just not sure what is going to be the use case for that. Like how will people start using it? Have you thought about that at all?
100%. Like तो एक बहुत viral video आई थी. A lot of people are saying that it will replace graphic designers, poster designers, and all of these things. But the truth is that it would replace some responsibilities because it can't function without constraints. As you said,
Correct.
कि उसको बताना है, because AI is open-ended. The fact that it has too much data is the negative point.
Right.
So as human beings, we know कि वो constraints क्या set होंगे. But again, it is a huge issue for 80% of the designers जो सिर्फ templates इधर उधर से उठा के डाल देते थे. People who are simply relying on overlaps.
So people who don't create from scratch like you do.
Exactly. People who are just sort of putting things together, because AI is much better at pattern recognition. Right? So अभी भी जब हम भी कुछ बनाते हैं, we take inspiration from multiple sources. We also use pattern recognition. हम literally यही कर रहे हैं. We think that we are creative, but what is creativity? Creativity is putting things together from multiple sources.
Correct.
ठीक है? You swap a few items, you call it new. AI can do that very well. So I think in the next 4-5 years, the responsibilities of a graphic designer will change. अभी graphic designer Photoshop खोलता है, image खींचता है, उसको crop करता है, text को change करता है, फिर poster डालता है. आज से 5 साल बाद graphic designer का ये responsibility नहीं होगा. Graphic designer का responsibility होगा choosing the right typeface, choosing the right theme, the right curation and setting the right constraints कि ये कर. That is what you will get paid for, and not for spending time on tools.
Right, because if you don't use constraints, जैसे मैंने बताया, if you don't tell it the painting style, we did that also. जहाँ पे हमने बहुत randomly बोला draw a man with a bullet in his head या ऐसा कुछ भी random, it went absurd. The machine could not understand.
How much time does it take to render one image?
I think about a minute or so.
That is so fast.
Yeah.
And you get unlimited
But don't quote me on that, because हो सकता है कि it's 40 to 1 minute, 40 seconds to a minute. But I know the bar went off pretty slowly. Sorry, you were saying?
Like how many trials do you get? Like you can try
insane amount of trials, unlimited trials, and then so it generates 4 variations. फिर एक variation पे जाके you can also kind of use it as a क्या बोलते हैं उसे, as a route for more branches to spread out, कि इसी के ऊपर और variations बनाओ from one style. What is interesting is you cannot use real people.
Okay.
So पहले मैंने कहा कि डोनाल्ड ट्रंप टाइप करता हूँ, हिटलर टाइप करता हूँ, एंड वो कह रहा था दिस इज अगेंस्ट आवर कंटेंट पॉलिसी. आई वाज लाइक अरे ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा वोकिज्म हो गया है. Then I typed Joe Rogan, I was like वोकिज्म हो गया. Then I typed all other actresses के names, मैंने कहा ये वोकिज्म नहीं है, they just don't allow for that. Because obviously misuse तो कर ही लेंगे फिर लोग की कुछ पक्षोदी करते हुए, which has also started to happen. Like yesterday I had my friend Sujat Roy here, he was telling me कि बहुत सारे ऐसे APKs बन गए already जो DALL-E को tweak करके they're using it as basically you can make inflammatory stuff about other people because it removes those constraints जो उन्होंने अपने policy के अंदर लगा रखे हैं.
That is inevitable. That happens with every technology. Yeah,
look at deepfakes. On porn websites they literally have advertisements that say put anyone's face here as you please, and I'm like bro fuck.
That is so scary.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
The fact that एक टाइम पे व्यू just like think about, पहले it started with just politicians जिनकी deep fake videos आती थी. They would deny the fact कि ये deep fake है, like they would say कि ये deep fake है, ये मैं नहीं हूँ, but they would use it as a scapegoat because sometimes it would actually be them. They'd be like it's a deep fake. Then it suddenly entered commercialism and advertising, and now it's just the fact that porn ads have कि आप you can take this template porn video
Yeah.
and use someone's face on it as you please.
And that is so scary because it will only get stronger with time.
Yeah.
They have just
And
started.
जिसको concept नहीं पता will assume that this is the real person indeed, right? Yeah, it all started with the face app and whatnot, bro.
Those reels also come, no? Music video ki. A lot of celebrity swaps.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird. I don't know how. Call me a conservative guy when it comes to technology, but I don't think that this level of unprecedented, unchecked technological innovation in the sake of entertainment and convenience is good for us.
Think about all the kids who are going to come with this. मतलब जो बच्चे पैदा हो रहे हैं in the next.
Imagine तेरा बच्चा ही deep fake है.
I mean, my kid, dude, you never know. Like TV shows में भी आने लग जाएगा, right? Like instead of watching someone else as the main character, what if you can upload your face and that TV show is around you?
That would solve so many problems because if you watch the Joker, the new one that came out, isn't that the whole thing? That he wanted to be on the show and eventually overtake.
I think you can very easily execute it.
Robert De Niro as the host. That's a dream, right? Like sometimes people want to be. एक तो होता कि I'm just a passive दर्शक. कोई इंसान चाहता है they project their hopes of being a host or an anchor or a TV show, some presenter onto that guy. And if you can just literally feed on that insecurity and be like, ये लो, तुम host अब. That's crazy.
But the thing is, only you will watch it.
Yeah.
Nobody else will watch you.
Yeah.
And not everyone will relate to that story because किसी भी commercial story में there are ups and downs. You might enjoy the ups, but you can't see yourself suffering. आप channel बंद कर दोगे.
Really? Why do you think that?
Because it's, dude, pick any show. Pick any show that you like.
BoJack Horseman.
So usme there are moments where you can be sad.
Yeah.
Right? So at that point, it will become triggering for you. It is easy to see someone else suffer, but imagine if your face is there and you have to finish the entire season.
There's this whole category of comedy called misery porn. I mean, I'm just using the word porn liberally here, where basically और लोगों को चोट लग रही होती है and there's a kind of cathartic relief you get in watching that.
There's a movie on this as well. I think it's called Untrack or something like that. Usme this guy has a website where he's like picking people and torturing them and live streaming that.
That's crazy.
Untraceable. It's called Untraceable. It's a very disturbing movie.
Yeah. I don't get the whole idea of like doing a good deed and live streaming it. I've been seeing जैसे India के अंदर there's a whole category of people. Have you watched Bobby Kataria ever?
No.
Bobby Kataria is a fun.
They do good deeds and live stream it.
Yeah, मतलब allegedly good deeds. He brands himself as a public servant. But वो,
like Varun Pruthy.
Yeah, like Varun Pruthy.
Where is Varun Pruthy?
Varun Pruthy is a.
What is he doing?
Varun Pruthy is a wholesome family creator. You can check him out on Instagram. He's hilarious.
He's still doing that. मैं 1000 के लिए.
नहीं. All his videos are colored now. They're no longer black and white.
But the guy was so fit. I just remember him being very fit.
I love it. His foray into acting was through social service.
He's an actor now.
No. If you remember the Facebook page, उसपे लिखा होता था ना actor Varun Pruthy.
Yeah. And oh yes, of course.
वो ये था कि social service कर रहा हूँ लेकिन real मेरा shit मेरी acting है और मेरी acting को मेरी social service के माध्यम से देखो. Good lobby, but then I think Sonu Sood reversed it and became an actor turned social service guy. And then he took out a book कि मैंने COVID में कैसे help करी. There's all these kind of like crazy live streamers. Basically, Bobby Kataria क्या करता है? Fuck, bro. The video I saw yesterday is so brutal. There's a guy who's most likely died in an accident.
Okay.
In an accident. He's like, मैं viral हूँगा, ये कर दूँगा मैं तो. Literally वहाँ पे scene है जहाँ पे लोग इकट्ठे हो रखे हैं dead body के आसपास, supposedly dead body, most likely dead,
सड़क
right?
पे.
सड़क पे. He becomes the guy who instead of being an onlooker puts this body in the car. I'm not sure if it's dead or not. The video was too harrowing to watch. People can watch it if they want. And वो live stream कर रहा है. उसका assistant गाड़ी चला रहा है कि वहाँ लोग मदद नहीं कर रहे थे. मैं जा रहा हूँ. And पीछे the dude is lying lifeless. And then he's live streaming as he goes to the hospital still. And उसकी वो body दिखाता and it does not look pleasant at all. But he's live streaming the entire episode.
So what happened to the guy?
I couldn't watch till the end. It was too bad because he just looked lifeless. I'm assuming he was already dead on the spot.
Oh,
but they just carried on the entire ordeal. This is all online, bro.
Oh man.
There's some wild shit on the Indian internet that is happening. Wild shit. Yeah. It's
I've never heard this live streaming like good deeds.
Yeah. It's totally a phenomenon, you know. जो ये Figma tutorial की दुनिया इससे थोड़ा अलग है. This is like deep dark. You know, that's the other thing that I realized. Like, there's this whole beautiful aesthetic design world that you come from. Then there is the meme editing world that a lot of people occupy. For some reason, their aesthetic isn't as relevant as template is, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right? मैं तो just like out of sheer curiosity, do designers ever borrow shit from the meme world, which is totally क्या बोलते हैं, uncensored or not looking to be aesthetic at all, like the Cheems doggy?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, like, this is not even for like just startups. मेरे पास कोई भी आता है ना बोलने के लिए कि हमें ये product बेचना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, I tell them to be very functional because Indian market is very functional. If you have bad aesthetics, but if your offer is good, they'll buy it. They will easily accept it.
Look at Vijay Sales.
What is that?
The name Vijay Sales, right?
Yeah.
I'm an electronics hardware store, but my name is Vijay Sales.
Oh yeah.
That's such an old India name.
Yeah, but they're doing amazing.
Yeah.
The thing is, we see so many products, right? चाहे biscuits हो, चाहे drinks हो, उनका कोई aesthetic ऐसे कोई peak पे तो है नहीं. You would find much more aesthetic products.
Right.
But the thing is, their price and their distribution. These two things matter a lot. They are available at every store. They do the job, and that is what is required. Like, I see so many apps that are in India that might not have the best user experience, but they get the job done.
Right.
That is more important.
So what, then I would assume कि अच्छा design is probably something that a premium customer would pay for, not like आम जनता.
No, actually we have to redefine what is design. तो अभी तक क्या है कि major लोगों को लगता है design is about visual appeal, aesthetics. Right? But design is more than that. What you are saying is visual design. I think good design is something that is firstly scalable. अगर आप बिस्किट बना रहे हो तो उसका पैकेट ऐसा होना चाहिए कि it should be easy to print, कहीं पे भी प्रिंट हो जाए.
नहीं तो आपको हैंडमेड बिस्किट्स बना के उसे महंगा बेचना पड़ेगा.
Exactly.
किसी न किसी पॉपअप में.
राइट अगर आप चिप्स का पैकेट बना रहे हो तो वो अलग अलग फ्लेवर्स को सेटिस्फाई कर दे, अलग अलग लैंग्वेजेस को सेटिस्फाई कर दे. इट शुड बी स्केलेबल. राइट सेकेंड, इट शुड बी ईजी टू अंडरस्टैंड. राइट इट शुड बी ईजी टू मेंटेन, इट शुड बी ईजी टू मार्केट. ये डिज़ाइन बोलो तो ये ठीक है, ये समझदार वाला डिज़ाइन है. ऑफकोर्स विजुअल डिज़ाइन इज अ पार्ट ऑफ इट. जब हम ऐप्स की बात करते हैं वी टॉक अबाउट सिस्टम्स, कि आपने एक सिस्टम बना दिया डिज़ाइन का. अब आपको हर एक स्क्रीन बनाने के लिए ज़्यादा दिमाग नहीं लगाना पड़ रहा. अब आपको विजुअल डिज़ाइन पे कम टाइम स्पेंड करना है. दैट इज़ अ वेरी सक्सेसफुल डिज़ाइन.
इट्स व्हाट दे डू इन फैक्ट्री असेंबली लाइंस, राइट? लाइक मार्जिनल कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन आप कम कर देते हो बाय जस्ट मेकिंग वन ढांचा और उसको रिप्रोड्यूस करना आसान हो जाता है.
तो अभी जब भी हम कोई स्क्रीन बनाते हैं उसमें अलग अलग कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं. वी जस्ट स्वैप देम. आई ट्राई टू स्पेंड मिनिमम टाइम ऑन विजुअल डिज़ाइन एंड एस्थेटिक्स एंड विजुअल अपील. मोस्ट टाइम इज स्पेंट ऑन प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग. Is this solving the problem? It should look pretty, but being pretty is not the first priority. Solving the problem is the first priority. Being scalable and easy to make, easy to develop, easy to produce.
Yeah, Theobroma is pretty. That doesn't mean it wants to make you eat all that stuff.
Yeah, I really respect all the bakeries in Chandni Chowk. Right? Because they don't spend on marketing, they don't spend on packaging. वो न्यूज़पेपर में लपेट के आपको केक दे देते हैं. 10 रुपए का केक आता है. I love it. Billions of people might love it. And they are doing very well. उन्होंने आज तक Photoshop नहीं खोला होगा. Right? But they are functional. That is more important.
There's also the design of family names on boards that tends to work very well in
That is
India.
credibility.
Yeah.
But उनको भी 50-60 साल लग जाते हैं. That compounding takes place over a very long period of time.
Right. एक बात बता, मैं ना, now that you're here, it's wonderful that I can ask you this. I mean, I know that you don't drink, but I've been noticing this, well, not only just in drinks. Let me just, draw this out for you to make you understand. So let's take rolling papers, drinks, mithai, and skincare, ये सब चीज़ें हो गई. So skincare में you've got Kama.
Yeah.
Right? One Hindi name. Let's stick with that.
Yeah.
Mithaiyu mein you've got Khoya. Let's stick with that. In whiskeys you have Kamet and Indri. Let's stick with that. Rolling papers mein you've got Kagazi. Right?
Yeah. It's by my friend.
It's by your friend. So what I'm getting at is, I've been noticing this very interesting trend for the last 2 years, and I don't know if UI UX designers notice it. All of these have one brighter colors. Second, एक हिंदी या उर्दू नाम, but उसकी जो aesthetic sensibilities हैं, they're very hipsterish, very much Western, for the lack of a better word, and almost all of them have an origin story about India, right? And हो सकता है, I mean, you know, including कागज़ी, I mean, I don't know, हो सकता है product roughly same हो as an unmarked मिठाई का डब्बा जो किसी हलवाई ने दिया है. But just the way it's packaged in this, let me give you your culture back to you in a more sophisticated way, is something that people are buying left and right.
Yeah. But there are many reasons for this decision making.
Please explain.
Let's break this down one by one, right? Let's pick the name. Getting your name as a Hindi wala word, uska domain name easy hai, uska trademark easy hai as compared to English names.
Right.
Second is your target audience. Breaking into a non-Indian market is very difficult if your factory is in India. तो आपके लिए बेटर होता है कि मैं पहले इंडियंस को बेचूं क्योंकि मैं इंडिया हूँ, सारा मेरा काम यहाँ पर है. द ईजिएस्ट वे टू गेट एन इंडियंस अटेंशन इज थ्रू द लैंग्वेज दैट पर्सन स्पीक्स नेचुरली, राइट? पेपर वर्सेस कागज़ में कागज़ वुड रिलेट टू हिम मोर. द थर्ड क्वेश्चन इज कि व्हेन यू यूज रियली ब्राइट कलर्स, अभी जैसे यू हैव अ वेरी ब्राइट पोस्टर, ठीक है, पीछे, इफ आई क्लोज माई आईज जस्ट बिकॉज उसका कलर बहुत ब्राइट है, इट स्टिक्स, एक इंप्रेशन छूट जाता है मेरी आंखों में. इफ द कलर्स आर वेरी सटल, it has a very mellow tone, वो आँखों में छपता नहीं है. तो that is about the colors. Fourth is, we never want to say कि oh we are not proud of what we are, right? But we are upgrading ourselves, we are leveling up. By default we feel कि जो भी western का aesthetic है that is better. But अब क्या हो रहा है, एक fusion आ गया. You'll see a lot of fusion restaurants as well जहाँ पे वो ही same चाट पापड़ी है.
Have you been to Dishum?
No.
अच्छा, it's the one in UK, हाँ.
But Farzi Cafe is very popular for this कि वो धुआं आ रहा है, वो आइस का धुआं आ रहा है and all that stuff, right? So we want to stick to our roots, but we also want to say that, hey, we are leveling up. We are catching up with you. So that is where the fusion comes in and people appreciate that more because now you're saying that, oh, I'm proud of who I am, but I'm also paying a hefty price.
For and being proud of who I am.
Huh?
I said, but I'm also paying a hefty price for being proud of who I am.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I just wanted to speak to a designer about this because मुझे लग रहा था कि is it just me who's noticing this?
No.
Because look at these aesthetics, for example. People who are listening, this is a very classic happily and married aesthetic, right? Happily and married, bewakoof.com, chumbak aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
It's gone out of fashion now for a lot of people. It's the sort of thing that used to be very popular where I had a poster from Happily and Married, एक metal poster. उसके अंदर जिमी हेंड्रिक्स की तस्वीर है. इट्स गॉट द सेम, व्हाट डू यू कॉल दिस इफेक्ट वेयर द फेस
सिलुएट सॉर्ट ऑफ अ थिंग,
सिलुएट, लाइक जिमी हेंड्रिक्स का सिलुएट है एंड नीचे लिखा हुआ है जिम्मी जिम्मी आजा आजा आजा, द फेमस सॉन्ग, राइट?
आई रिमेंबर सच वाइब्स.
Yeah. So that was a huge aesthetic that I kind of grew up on, and now it's all switched over to something else completely. Yeah.
But you would find a lot of them at चाणक्य MKT. मैं तो रिसर्च के लिए मैं घर पे बोर हो रहा होता हूँ तो मैं स्टोर्स चला जाता हूँ. And you would have already seen me posting about this.
Yeah, you go to stores all the time. कि यहाँ का ये aesthetic अच्छा है, यहाँ का ये aesthetic अच्छा है, हाँ.
I keep collecting references क्योंकि as a UX designer I only collect references outside tech.
So like how do physical experiences of stores help you be a better designer of digital things?
It helps me sort of first of all understand कि physical लोगों में what are people looking for and where are people going. अगर मैं एक स्टोर में जा रहा हूँ और 10 शेल्फ्स है और 10 शेल्फ्स में से सिर्फ एक शेल्फ है जहाँ पे प्रोडक्ट ख़त्म हो रहा है, तो आई हैव टू फिगर आउट ये फिजिकल स्पेस में क्यों हो रहा है, बिकॉज आवर बिहेवियर्स आर फर्स्ट रेप्लिकेटेड फ्रॉम फिजिकल टू डिजिटल. ऐसा तो है नहीं कि मैंने डिजिटल स्पेस में कोई हैबिट ली और अब मैं उसको फिजिकल में रेप्लिकेट कर रहा हूँ, राइट? वी फर्स्ट पिक अप हैबिट्स इन द फिजिकल वर्ल्ड, right? And then we replicate them virtually.
Maybe poker is a different example. It's easier to play online poker than to play physically.
But they learned poker का chips का concept and all the concepts were learned in the physical world, no? तो जो chip का color है, अब यही अगर मैंने physical world की chip circular होती है, मैंने अपनी app पे triangle बना दी, so you will lose your users.
That is true as well.
Right? So you pick behaviors that they learn in the physical world and replicate them in the digital world.
That's crazy. Like I've always wondered about shelving. मेरे को तो ये दिखता ही है whenever I go to supermarkets. Why the easy to pick me up वाली चीज़ें. If you put
but they
chocolate,
pay a price for that.
What?
They pay a price to be on that specific shelf.
Correct. It's like shelving is a huge part of like the beverage and food industry. But my point is कि chocolates cashier के पास हैं because you've done all your stuff. Is like, oh, now I can just get like that one sweetener on the top. That's why they're there. I'm just wondering, for example, why do you see that there are two competing stores? One has a lot of customers, the second doesn't. Both have the same amount of product. ऐसी, have you observed anything from your travels? और वो क्या होता है?
Oh, there are many reasons. Let's just say there are two shops. Pick any product. Let's just do a case study right now.
Okay, can we do a food product?
Yeah.
Let's do क्या कहते हैं, मटन कबाब, मटन सीख कबाब, ऐसी वाली दुकान.
दोनों shops mutton
Aslam and
seekh kebab.
Qureshi's, let's do that. हाँ.
Both of them are selling mutton seekh kebab.
हाँ.
Right, but जो मटन है, मटन के ऊपर देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ लेयर्स. एक पैकेजिंग है, एक बैग है, आप स्टोर में घुसे, आपको एक आदमी मिला, आपको एक कैशियर मिला. सो लेट्स जस्ट फिगर आउट कि रूट कहाँ से शुरू होता है. सबसे पहले शुरू होता है कि कौन वहाँ आया. अगर पहली दुकान दूसरी दुकान से 1 महीने पहले भी आ गई तो दैट पर्सन हैज एस्टैब्लिश्ड 30 days of more credibility. And it's not just about credibility, it's also about that person upgrading himself. अगर आप 30 दिन पहले भी आ जाते हो ना तो आप पे 30 दिन एक्स्ट्रा एक्सपीरियंस है, क्योंकि पहले 30 दिन में आपने बहुत गलतियाँ करी. आपके बैग्स ख़राब हो गए, आपकी लाइटें ख़राब हो गई, आपका एसी ख़राब हो गया, आपका मटन जा रखा था वो फ्रिज ख़राब हो गया. So you learn more as well. So this is about when you join the game. The second is your team. How things are executed in that shop. हो सकता है आपका स्टाफ का जो मेन बंदा हो वो इतना बढ़िया हो कि लोग people just want to buy from him. Right? Third is what happens after you've made the purchase. आपने मटन घर भेज दिया, मटन में कुछ गलत निकल आया तो आपने इंस्टेंटली या तो रिफंड कर दिया या उसको नेक्स्ट टाइम कुछ कॉम्पनसेट कर दिया. सो पोस्ट परचेज एक्सपीरियंस एज वेल. सो दी अंडरलाइंग प्रोडक्ट, और अभी मैं पैकेजिंग पे तो जा ही नहीं रहा हूँ क्योंकि वो सब गेस कर लेते हैं कि यार पैकेजिंग बेटर है तो शायद, टेस्ट बेटर है तो शायद, ये तो है ही. बट देर आर मोर थिंग्स अपार्ट फ्रॉम द प्रोडक्ट दैट आर इन्फ्लुएंसिंग द प्रोडक्ट सक्सेस एंड द रिकरिंग कस्टमर, which happens before the purchase and after the purchase as well.
Wow. For example, अगर दोनों दुकानों के वॉक करने का तरीका है, but there is one passageway and it's closer to the one on the right, it's an extra friction to go to the one on the left.
So store design is a big subject. Store design is a very very interesting subject. बट अब क्या हो रहा है, अब वो लेस इज मोर वाले में हम जा रहे हैं धीरे धीरे. अगर आप स्नीकर्स के भी स्टोर में जाओ तो कम स्नीकर्स, कम टी शर्ट्स.
राइट.
बिकॉज देर आर 2 laws दैट दे यूज. दैट इज द हिक्स लॉ. तो हिक्स लॉ ये बोलता है कि जितनी कम चॉइसेस हो कि डिसीजन मेकिंग उतनी ईजी हो कि,
ऑफ कोर्स,
जैसे OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे इतनी चॉइसेस है कि डिसीजन मेकिंग आई नहीं रही. सो नाउ दे हैव रेकमेंड मी ऑप्शन, सरप्राइज
दैट्स व्हाई दे हैव मूवी only 30 in a month and
yeah. तो इट ईजेस योर डिसीजन मेकिंग. सेकेंड इज स्कार्सिटी. जब आपको दिख ही 3 जूते रहे हैं तो आपको लगता है ये स्कार्स है, चाहे वेयर हाउस में 100 पीस पड़े हो बट आपके सामने तो 3 है, तो आपको स्कार्सिटी लगती है कि अभी ले लेता हूँ. दैट्स वाई एप्स में भी आजकल आता है ना 24 hours ओनली, 3 pieces left, 4 pieces left.
That's why hype drops work so well.
Yeah.
Right. Very interesting. Yeah, I remember, like, for example, बचपन में जिनी एंड जॉनी जाना, पैंटलून्स जाना, ऐसे अब H&M जाना. Even they, like, there's, if you look at pantaloons, for example, massive store.
Yeah.
हजारों कपड़े ही कपड़े, इतने कपड़े, तुम जाओ बहन जो 36 तरह की जीन्स, 15 तरह की टी शर्ट, and you just are confused. You're confused and you need to take external opinions. With the wonderful thing about kind of street style clothes is तुम जाओ 4-5 ही लगे हुए हैं, you pick one, you wear it like nice, ठीक है, and that's it, and you come out. I did not know I was using Hicks Law. I always give people lesser choices. I don't give them more choices. So it makes my life easier. Otherwise they look at me कि मैं क्या करूँ.
That is why I love the radio and iPod shuffle, जो छोटा वाला shuffle आता था, because you have no control over the songs, so you sort of live with it. राइट. अभी क्या होता है, जब स्टार मूवीज पे मैं मूवी देखता था, बीच में अगर ऐड आती भी तो मैं खुश हो जाता था कि चलो मैं कुछ फ्रिज से ले आता हूं.
It's curated for me. Right. You can skip through stuff.
Yeah. अभी क्या हो रहा है, इतनी चॉइसेस आ गई, abundance of choice आ गई, abundance of music आ गया, मुझे पता ही नहीं चलता मैं क्या चूज करूँ. Sometimes I just want कि तुम ही बता दो and I'll just go with it.
Yeah, I don't know you, again, मैं दूसरी बार बोल रहा हूँ, you don't drink only to bring this up. It gets very interesting when you go to a bar and you figure out a kind of rapport with the bartender, but उससे करने से पहले they insist that you have some drinks from the menu. It's just standard across the world unless you're like a regular or whatever. Yeah. Then you say, "Ab bro, you make something for me." Then they ask you a few screener questions, if at all, if they're smart, and they start making you drinks, and they get a hang of it, and they start making you drinks that are off menu. That's when you really let the bar experience open up for you. क्योंकि अब मेरा experience of the drink is being curated by this bartender. It's not simply a one size fits all experience जो menu के अंदर है. It's for me now based on my preferences. And people pay top dollar for that. But to access that, you kind of have to go through whatever is available for everyone else as well.
So you know about the IKEA effect, right? IKEA effect में, so IKEA क्या करता है? It would have all its products dismantled. अगर आप IKEA से कुछ खरीदते हो तो वो घर में in pieces आता है. You have to put it all together. वरना you can outsource it. But इनसे उनकी एक तो cost बच रही है क्योंकि वो फर्नीचर जुड़ा हुआ नहीं है. It's in modular. अगर आप IKEA के स्टोर भी जाओ, it looks like a big warehouse.
Correct.
सेकेंड इज जब आप उस चीज़ को खुद असेंबल करते हो, जब भी आपके घर कोई मेहमान आता है, आप बोलते हो ये मैंने बनाई है. मैं इस रूम में आया, मेरे पास 10 चीज़ें हैं, बट मैं ये टेबल पहले दिखाऊंगा बोलने के लिए कि मैंने ये बनाई है. एंड यू लाइक इट मोर बिकॉज यू हैव असेंबल्ड इट.
राइट.
व्हाट्सएप पे यू कैन चेंज द बैकग्राउंड इमेज. व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ दैट? बिकॉज व्हेन यू पुट कस्टमाइजेशंस क्रिएटेड बाय यू लाइक द ऐप मोर. इंस्टाग्राम में मैसेंजर का चेंज हो जाता है, यू नो, हर जगह आपका बैकग्राउंड चेंज हो जाता है. बिकॉज व्हेन यू कस्टमाइज थिंग्स योर वे, यू लाइक देम मोर. When you've invested some effort. So as you said, वो drink जब आपके लिए curate हुई हुई है, that specialization makes you pay more for it.
Also with IKEA, you like being a blue collar worker. हालांकि सबसे easy होता है उन्हें लगाना कि अरे वाह यार देख मैं भी मिस्त्री, मैं भी कारपेंटर.
That high कि हम भी कितने humble है.
हाँ, exactly. Because yeah, wow bro, I never knew about that. I'm wondering if there are like any other obvious tells in the product design world, especially in experience design, जो ये physical experience design होता है, that people miss out.
There are many. There's yellow lighting versus white lighting.
I hate white lights.
Lighting. Yeah, I mean there's a lot that goes on. And you know, store में आप कैसे navigate कर रहे हो. Like theme parks are a big example of this. Theme parks के जो rides के queues होते हैं, like वो इस तरीके से भूल भुलैया टाइप बना देते हैं जिससे आपका टाइम और स्पेंड हो जाए. राइट जब आप क्यू में खड़े होते हो वो टीवीज पे एड्स बेच रहे होते हैं. जब आप मैकडॉनल्ड्स पे भी खड़े होते हो, दे आर सेलिंग सम एड्स. तो ये बहुत मैकडॉनल्ड्स इज अ वेरी वेल डिजाइन स्टोर.
हाउ सो?
बिकॉज यू एंटर एंड लेफ्ट और राइट पे एक तो वो अजीब से वो टीवी पे एड्स आ रहे हैं, जोक्स आर कमिंग इन, right? Then they have
their own syndicated TV of a very weird variety.
Yeah. And then they have like their Happy Meal on the right side कि जब तक बच्चा क्यू में है वो Happy Meal को देख के और एक्साइटेड हो रहा है, right? So पूरे Happy Meal का क्यूरेशन करके रखते हैं. So you sort of जब तक आप वहाँ तक पहुँचते हो आप इतने एक्साइटेड हो जाते हो कि आप बोलते हो ले लो, right? And they were the first ones to make self serve very popular. उससे मैकडॉनल्ड से पहले आपकी टेबल पे आते थे वेटर्स, आप ऑर्डर बताओ. मैकडॉनल्ड सेड दैट यू हैव टू कम टू अस. उन्होंने उनकी कॉस्ट भी सेव हुई एंड पीपल जस्ट लाइक इट मोर बिकॉज दे हैड मोर ऑप्शन. वो जब तक क्यू में खड़े होते हैं दे डिसाइड व्हाट दे वांट, दे एंड अप बाइंग मोर. क्योंकि जब आप पे वेटर आता है यू हैव अ स्पैन ऑफ 25 सेकंड्स ऑफ रश,
राइट?
अच्छा फटाफट ये भी करते हो, ओके बाय. बट जब तक आप क्यू में होते हो, जब तक आप खड़े होते हो, आप मेन्यू देख रहे हो, ये भी ले लेता हूँ, ये भी ले लेता हूँ, चल ये भी ले लेता हूँ, आपका ऑर्डर ही बढ़ जाता है.
कैन वी guard ourselves against product design, against experience design? क्या अब जैसे now that you know it, will you enter McDonald's be like bro मैं इन सब चीज़ों का शिकार नहीं बनूंगा because I know कैसे डिज़ाइन करना है?
That is how life is, man. Like I kind of like it, even though I know some very dark traps, तो उनसे I skip. जैसे just for making me buy more things. I don't buy things easily. I take a lot of time to make an impulse
How will
purchase.
like what are there examples like upselling होती है एक चीज़, this is clear upselling कि आप ये ले रहे हो आपको 2 में ये मिल जाएगा, right? That is simple marketing ploy, right?
Yeah.
वो बना के कि अरे यार आप $5 और दोगे आपको 2 चीज़ें और मिल जाएंगी तो आप ले लो, right? But what are some other like dark quote unquote things that you've learned?
It's more about the salesman. Most games are played by the salesman, right?
Not कि supermarket के अंदर कुछ वो छिड़क रखा है और the way
No,
you know, no. the way all theme park rides end in the gift shop. None of that.
Yeah, see you can predict that. People have become pretty immune to these tricks. कि जाते हुए खर्चा नहीं करना, या बिगनिंग में ही नहीं खरीदना. अब मेले में घुसे बिगनिंग में लोग नहीं खरीदते कि एंड में तो प्राइसेस स्लैश हो जाएंगे, इन्होंने आधे रेटों पे तो देना ही है स्टॉल का रेंट कवर करने के लिए. ये सब ट्रिक्स अब सबको पता है. सेल्समैन की ट्रिक्स आइडेंटिफाई करना इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट बिकॉज उसमें देयर इज अ ह्यूमन कनेक्शन. कभी कभी क्या होता है आप सिर्फ सेल्समैन को इम्प्रेस करने के लिए कि मेरे पास बहुत पैसा है चीज़ें खरीद लेते हो, या शॉप में कोई और खड़ी है उसको दिखाने के लिए आप खरीद लेते हो, या आप जिसको साथ लेके आए हो अपने +1 को दिखाने के लिए आप ज़्यादा खरीद लेते हो. यू हैव बिकॉज आपकी ईगो ही आपको तंग करती है. योर ओन ईगो इज द वर्स्ट मार्केटिंग एनिमी that you have to fight.
Really?
Yeah, because
It's your desire to look a certain way
Yeah.
or to prevent embarrassment.
Yeah.
I was listening to Osho in Hindi the other day. We were coming back from this Studio Echo in Gurgaon, and he was saying कि वैसे वो हास्य रस में बातें कर रहा था. कहता एक टाइम पे शूज़ वालों ने कंपनी वालों ने रियलाइज़ करा कि सेल्स मैनेजर का सेल्स वुमेन रखते हैं.
Yeah.
राइट एंड वो इस तरह से हंसी मजाक में कह रहा था कि जब कोई खूबसूरत औरत एक आदमी को जूता पहनाएगी तो वो कैसे नहीं खरीदेगा.
100%.
And that's just like a small tweak that like it's the same with any place that makes you even though you don't, for example, if you don't feel upscale on the inside and some other establishment makes you feel that they're upscale, you're like, of course मैं बहुत पैसे दूंगा to be a part of it.
Magicians use this all the time, no? They always have like a very pretty assistant. I would recommend you to study magic. I've learned magic for a year in the lockdown. It is a subject that everyone should learn. Because
do you know any tricks, or like do you look
I
at
have
the psychology
forgotten.
beyond
I've
tricks?
forgotten all the main tricks, but I'll tell you why a magician is. So you know the history of magic, right? तो magic तब आया था जब बहुत wars चल रही थी. तो जब wars चल रही थी तो scientists के पास job नहीं थी, physicians, chemists, psychologists इनके सबके पास काम नहीं था. तो they all came together in the entertainment field. They all entered magic. Magic is the only field जिसकी history में physics, chemistry, psychology सब कुछ मिला हुआ है. That is the only field. जो बहुत एडवांस मैजिक ट्रिक्स होती है उसमें बहुत मैकेनिक्स होती है, बट वो आई कहाँ से कि रूट्स ही बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है. तो एक मैजिशियन का मेन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ये होती है कि इवन इफ थिंग्स आर गोइंग रॉन्ग यू कांट लेट इट कम टू योर फेस. आई हैव लर्नड मैजिक. मैंने वो ताश वाले पत्तों की ट्रिक सीखी हुई है. तो जब मैं आपको बोलता हूँ कि पिक अ कार्ड, देयर इज़ अ प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट इट माइट गो रॉन्ग, और आपको पता भी नहीं चलता, उसको पता चल जाता है इसने गलत कार्ड उठा लिया है, तो वो फिर से डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर देता है, फिर से शफल करता है, फिर से एक और कार्ड मांगता है कि पिक वन अगेन, राइट? बट यू कांट सी इट ऑन हिज फेस. अ मैजिशियन हैज टू प्रिटेंड एज इफ एवरीथिंग इज अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्लान.
It looks like it's a part of the trick.
Yeah, but it's not.
Yeah, this is the same with DJs. If they will ever tell you, if you have DJ friends, they say we make mistakes all the time, but we make our mistakes sound good.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh wow, drop नहीं आया पर क्या बढ़िया एक semi drop आ गया, like and like
Yeah.
oh shit, like you don't realize it. Wow, I didn't realize that is the case.
Plus, a magician makes you think that you are holding your own choices, that you have full control, but you don't.
Yeah.
You literally have zero control. जब magician किसी को बोलते हैं ना स्टेज पे आओ, आप आउट हो, अब आपको लग रहा है कि आप choices कर रहे हो, आप नहीं कर रहे. It's all rigged, but they do it very seamlessly.
That's the case with very good writers as well. They make you believe like you're in on the climax right before the climax actually arrives.
Yeah.
But it's been put there deliberately to make you feel smart.
Yeah.
That's what Malcolm Gladwell does. They say that his books, his writing style makes people feel smart, but it's deliberate.
Yeah.
You don't want to be impressed. You want to be impressed by yourself. कि
मैंने guess कर
मैंने कर लिया, हाँ, मैं smart हूँ, हाँ. Listen to this. When you first wake up in the morning, before you get dressed, wipe your bare testicles with a clean linen handkerchief. Fold the handkerchief neatly and wear it as a pocket square in your jacket all day. The book promised that women would find the smell irresistible. Whether or not it worked, the advice made pocket handkerchiefs hugely popular. This is one of the several insights in my brand new newsletter. अभी फिलहाल के लिए इसको विनम्र's newsletter बोलेंगे. That I sent out twice a month. It is now available. मैं जो भी बढ़िया से बढ़िया किताबें पढ़ रहा हूँ, all the books that I'm reading, my top insight from that. It's a very small newsletter. It'll get delivered to your inbox so that you can get piqued कि यार ये किताब कितनी फाड़ है, should I read it? And just like give you like the best curation of what I think is most interesting from these books. ठीक है, उसके लिए साइन अप करना है सिर्फ अपना ईमेल एड्रेस यूज करके. लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन के अंदर है. दिस इज गोना बी द बेस्ट न्यूज़लेटर यू एवर डिस्कवर्ड. आई जेन्युइनली बिलीव इट. Over 1,700 people have already signed up. Wait मत करिए. This is the top tier shit, top shelf OG माल है ये वाला. If you ever followed my previous channel, Shatir, you know what I'm talking about. This is that good shit. This is the shit that'll knock off your pants. It's high quality writing curated especially for you guys. Link description में है. Sign up करना ना भूलें. That's great. Knowing all that you know, bro, that's how does it affect like the way you make things?
I think it's all about like pattern recognition. I keep talking about this as well. कि अगर आप किसी भी 3-4 subjects को बहुत deeply पढ़ना शुरू कर दो ना, you will find overlaps because see essentially we're all made up of the same energy.
Right.
It's the same physical particles translating. तो पहले मैं फुटबॉल खेलता था, मैं फुटबॉल से फिल्म मेकिंग में आया, फिल्म मेकिंग से म्यूज़िक में आया, म्यूज़िक से इंजीनियरिंग. तो अब मैं जब सारे सब्जेक्ट्स को पढ़ता हूँ मुझे रियलाइज़ होता है कि जो चीज़ें मैंने फिजिक्स में सीखी मुझे इंजीनियरिंग में काम आई, इंजीनियरिंग में सीखा हुआ फिल्म मेकिंग में काम आया. जब भी मेरे पास कोई प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट आती है ना तो मेरे ब्रेन में ऐसे एक वेब ऑफ डॉट्स खुल जाता है. Right, and that is what I keep talking about. You have this web of consciousness. Everything that you learn becomes a dot. जब भी आप पे कोई प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट फेंकता है, अगर आपका वेब ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस छोटा हुआ तो वो साइड से निकल जाएगा.
करेक्ट.
बट जैसे जैसे आप डॉट्स बढ़ाते जाओगे और एक्सपैंड करते जाओगे, दैट वेब बिकम्स बिगर. मैंने प्रॉब्लम फेंकी, खटाक अटकी, नाउ यू नो व्हाट टू डू नेक्स्ट.
ज़्यादातर लोगों की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल्स आर डोमेन डिपेंडेंट. वो अपने डोमेन के अंदर ही प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. दे आर नॉट डोमेन इंडिपेंडेंट. आई लर्न दिस फर्स्ट फ्रॉम देयर्स दीस 7 principles that signify what Da Vinci's thinking looks like. One of them is the mixture of arts and sciences. The other is roughly, there's an Italian word that I can't remember right now, where it's like you study multiple domains. Matlab, he was an event organizer, a mathematician, an inventor, an artist, a bunch of different things. उन सब से extrapolate करके he could pick out solutions that are truly unique.
Yeah.
Which is why there is also a harm in only having experts on your team, because they're all extremely lopsided in the way they think. वो सिर्फ अपनी ही फील्ड को वो पैना करके सोच सकते हैं, right? And the problem with that is there's a book called Range. It's a very famous book by David Epstein. It's the exact opposite to Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours rule. The Outliers वाली किताब. इसने कहा कि भाई just because Bill Gates उस हाई स्कूल के अंदर था जहाँ पे कंप्यूटर था, इसी वजह से Microsoft है. He dismisses that. He says there are 2 kind of geniuses. One is like Tiger Woods, who was born and brought up to be a golf prodigy. The other was Roger Federer, जिसने 13-14 साल की एज से पहले रैंडमली सैम्पल करे बहुत सारे स्पोर्ट्स, एंड देन फिर रिलक्टेंटली उसकी मम्मी खुद बहुत अच्छी टेनिस स्टार थी, कहती चल तेरा खेलने का मन है तो खेल ले. So there are 2 ways to approach that, right? And the problem is all too often we're like, यार design सीखना है, so let me do a design PhD, right? And you completely become this, what's the right word? Matlab, you are not in sync with the times, because the times demand an entirely different adaptable kind of a conscious that you can't have if you just solve your domain problems every single day.
That is why मैं सबको recommend करता हूँ बाहर निकलो और बिल्कुल different लोगों से मिलो. Like my friend circle is so far away from engineering and design.
Right.
You should also read Grit. It's a wonderful book.
Is it on hard work?
Yeah, how perseverance. Abhinav gifted it to me.
Abhinav Chikara?
Yeah.
Love him. Yeah.
What a brilliant
He's also
book.
gifted me several other things. We can't get into that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a great guy. Smart guy.
Super smart guy. We've had several podcasts. हम कभी मिले नहीं. He's one of my only online friends who feels like a real friend, even though we haven't spoken in a while.
Like every time I speak to Abhinav, like मेरा mind खुल जाता है in just 30-40 minutes.
So what would you say, bro? Because I would say, like you are uniquely placed to answer this now. 1, you are a designer. 2, you don't drink. 3, you network with people. How do you do that? ये सिंपली वो जनता वाला क्वेश्चन है कि आप कैसे नेटवर्किंग कर सकते हैं माध्यम लोगों के साथ.
Oh, how do I network?
Yeah.
I actually don't. I'm not a very big fan of networking.
What do you do? Just go say, hi, my name is Ansh, I'm a designer.
I don't.
You just stand in the corner.
Like मुझे जब भी मैं कहीं पे ऐसे इवेंट में होता हूँ मुझे बोलता है वो खड़ा हुआ है उस पे चलते हैं, तो I think मेरी ईगो ही नहीं मानती. I'm like, why do we have to go to that person? Like, if our work is
वो आएगा ना.
हाँ. Like, they should say कि हमें इससे नेटवर्किंग करनी है. हम क्यों बोल रहे हैं कि हमें किसी और पे जाना है?
सही कह रहा था. ईगो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है डिजाइन में.
I feel ego is a big issue. But when it comes to like proper networking, अगर मुझे सही में किसी से network करना है, this is something that I learned from my friend Tanmay. He said network with their network. So if you have like this A1 person, figure out who that A1 person is talking to, and then you can easily reach that. But there's a flip side to this.
We're heading to the dark arts territory right now. I love it.
But it's very interesting, right? So these big clubs in Delhi, it is so fascinating. Every time I go there, उस क्लब के ओनर में इतना घमंड नहीं होता जितना उन लोगों में होता है जिससे उस क्लब में एंट्री मिल जाए.
जो रेगुलर्स हैं. भाई मैं रेगुलर हूँ, कैसा डांस रखा, you know what's up.
They have so much ego. This is seen in other areas as well. So if there's a celebrity kid, सेलिब्रिटी किड में घमंड नहीं है, उसके बेस्ट फ्रेंड में इस बात का घमंड है कि मैं सेलिब्रिटी किड का फ्रेंड हूँ.
डेली उठता बैठता है मेरे साथ. हाँ डेली, ये देख उसका फिंगरप्रिंट, ये देख.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I
proximity to power makes you believe you're powerful, but it's not the case at all.
Yeah. But there's one thing that has really helped me become better in these crowds, that is working on my physique and my clothing.
Really?
Yeah, because people treat you
won't
different.
people say that as very externally motivated? I know it's important.
Yeah.
But would you say that is like absolutely paramount because people judge you on your looks?
It helps you in the first 3 seconds.
Okay.
अगर आफ्टर 3 seconds अगर आप पे कपड़े है, बॉडी है, बट इफ यू डोंट हैव द राइट vocal skills and if you don't know what to talk about, you lose. But I'm saying the first 3 seconds help you. First 3 seconds में वो देखेगा कि आप कैसे हो, आप अपना ध्यान रख रहे हो नहीं रख रहे हो. डिज़ाइन इंडस्ट्री में तो ये बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया है, बिकॉज एज डिज़ाइनर्स इफ वी आर नॉट टेकिंग केयर ऑफ आवरसेल्व्स, हाउ कैन अ ब्रांड ट्रस्ट अस टू टेक केयर ऑफ देयर विजुअल डिजाइन?
You mean literal visual design which is done with a computer?
Yeah.
उसके लिए तुम्हारी physical appearance matter करनी शुरू हो गई है?
Yeah. For the first 3 seconds, you have to show that you can take care of yourself. But it's not just that you have to become George Clooney, right? You have to look the best version of yourself. There's a huge difference.
Right.
There's a huge difference कि मुझे 6-pack abs बनानी है या मुझे ऐसे नहीं. Even if you are not so-called the best looking guy out there, if you are confident, if you know what to wear, if you know how to walk, if you know how to talk, those first 3 seconds are sorted. And those first 3 seconds are extremely valuable.
I'm a very abusive guy.
For like randomly.
Yeah. नहीं, what I like to do is I like to pretend that I'm a village idiot starting में, just to fuck
Myself from village area.
ठीक है. नहीं ऐसे भी नहीं, मतलब मैं ना ऐसे जानबूझ के ना, because I like to see how people get scandalized and I like to क्या कहते हैं, cloak my first impressions. मेरे को मजे आते हैं ऐसे करके, only for pure because I can here's the game someone is playing. The game is English, let's say. ठीक है. The game is knowing what caviar is or what cold brew coffee is, example लेते हैं. ठीक है. ये गेम है इंग्लिश, ये गेम है, और दूसरा गेम है रेगुलर होने का. ठीक है. इन सब गेम्स को खेलने के लिए लोग क्या करते हैं, ये सब चीज़ें सीख के आते हैं. ठीक है. उन्हें सीख के आने के बाद देर लाइक अब मैं ये वाली बातें करूँगा. ठीक है. और वो बोलते हैं कि ये जो फिकल 500 जो ग्रुप है ना जिसके अंदर मुझे घुसना है, अभी मेरे को एक्सेप्ट करेगा. द फ्लिप साइड टू दैट गेम, द मिस्टीवियस पार्ट, द प्रैंकस्टर पार्ट दैट आई प्ले इज लाइक, भाई क्या होता है यार ये. ठीक है. भाई मेरे को तो पता नहीं है. आई फेन फूलिशनेस till I no longer have to, and then I flip it like I'm already पता है. So or it does 2 things. One, it generally surprises people, and then they're intrigued. What the fuck just happened? ये बंदा English कैसे बोल रहा है? Second, it just gives you an opening to do whatever you want because now you've established both behaviors are fine. So it allows for absolute authenticity with strangers.
I don't even talk in parties. पता है मेरी, I think मेरी story से देख के लगता होगा कि he would be talking to people or he's like a
perception game है ना, designer है तू.
हाँ, it is all perception. In parties, I am always with like 2 people throughout the party and I'm not talking to them, but those 2 people are nice, so उसने किसी और से मिला दिया, उसने किसी और से मिला दिया.
Yeah.
But I think the only thing that you need to have a good friend circle is to be nice. That is very important.
It's so hard to be nice nowadays.
It is hard because आपका instant reaction होता है कि मुझे नहीं बात करनी. राइट. आप किसी स्ट्रेंजर
तो सब लोगों की तारीफ करता है. तू हर एक इंसान की अपनी पोस्ट में अपनी स्टोरीज में तारीफ करता है. ये भाई कितने अच्छे हैं, ये भाई इतने अच्छे हैं, इन भाई ने ये करा है.
आई नो मेरे को बहुत मजा आता है तारीफ करने में. बट आई हैव 2 अकाउंट्स.
ओके. एक बुराई वाला एक तारीफ वाला.
एक बुराई वाला भी है. उसका मेरा डीपी पे भी मेरा शक्ल नहीं है, कोई भी नहीं है.
वो एनोनिमस है. रेडिट पे जाके तेरी मैक.
तो उसके इंस्टाग्राम स्टोरीज पे मैं सब कुछ डालता हूँ. द बैड पार्ट एज वेल, द गुड पार्ट एज वेल.
गाइस, ट्रूथ अबाउट फैशन इंडस्ट्री, वी आर अंडरपेड मॉडल्स.
No, but the world is a pretty dark place. Like the more I see it, like even nature itself, like nature is pretty scary.
Yeah, bro, nature is metal. They've literally iconically उन्होंने वो पूरा phrase own कर लिया by running that one page.
It is pretty scary. Like there is a lot of dard as well. Like the only reason why I post so much about like positivity and all this stuff is because it is reaffirmation for myself.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find the good.
Yeah.
Right, but in reality, I know that there is a lot of bad shit happening.
But I think if you come at people with good intentions, more or less, people respond. But you come with the intent of plotting evil, or या फिर कि अब ना इसको.
People get to know.
हाँ, अब मैं इसको नीचे दिखाऊंगा. That is shown because one thing that I've realized is it's very easy to be hostile. Hostility is the default.
Yeah,
right?
Defense.
Right? It's a good defense mechanism. It's a widely accept. Hostility is a status quo in Delhi, right? Being hostile, being nice. Oh, वो एक भला आदमी था. Because you remember like बुराई की कहानी are like 10.
Yeah.
और आज एक भले आदमी ने ना मेरा वॉलेट मेरे को वापस कर दिया. ओह, इंसानियत.
Yeah. It is very surprising कि अच्छाई is the surprise element कि उसने वापस कैसे कर दिया.
Right.
But वो ये यार इतनी तंगी है बाहर, इतना स्ट्रेस है लोगों को कि मुझे लगता है कि अगर उसने चोरी करा है, आई कैन इमेजिन क्या बैक स्टोरी रही भी होगी. There is a lot of pain.
Right.
And mostly is because of lack of money. Most issues are कि पैसा नहीं था, किसी की तबीयत खराब हो गई, ये कर लिया वो कर लिया, फीस नहीं दे पाए, वहीं से शुरू होता है.
Do you think that good design can help you make more money if someone has a shitty logo or bad colors, but if they upgrade their design, will that make them have more money? Will that them make more money?
No, I don't believe it. Right, like there are two things to it. Right, there's the offer and there's the pitch. तो जो टेक के लोग हैं, यू वुड ऑलवेज ऑफ्टन सी कि जो टेक के एंटरप्रेन्योर्स होते हैं वो टी शर्ट शॉर्ट्स में ही घूमते हैं, राइट? दे आर नॉट शोइंग ऑफ because their offer is really good. The thing that they have made is really good, so they don't have to pitch. On the other hand, जो marketing के folks होंगे, सूट पहनेंगे, परफ्यूम लगाएंगे,
the fashion world,
they have to increase their pitch, right? तो या तो आप ऑफर को इम्प्रूव करो या आप पिच को इम्प्रूव करो. आई बिलीव कि यू शुड ऑलवेज वर्क ऑन द ऑफर. So a logo will not help you because that is you improving the pitch. Don't do that. Work on the product. Improve the offer. That is the viable way to go ahead. So a logo will not help you improve your sales, not even like the visual appeal.
Not at all. तो लोग बोलते हैं हमने rebranding करी है अब, जैसे like they often
because
say that.
There needs to be a certain agenda to it. कभी rebranding is to change how people think about you. That is very important. It is not necessarily helping you upsell. It is helping you change what people think about you. That is very important. If you're using branding and visual appeal to make people think in a certain way, जैसे बहुत सारे luxurious brands होते हैं, आप उनके स्टोर के अंदर जाओ, ऑलमोस्ट सबका सिमिलर इंटरफेस है. there's a marble and लोहे में उनके लेटर्स कटे हुए होते हैं.
हाँ.
सबका ऑलमोस्ट सेम फॉन्ट है.
Looks fucking cheap. Yeah.
Right? Almost everyone has like that serif font.
हाँ.
They can hire a branding expert and do something completely out of the box, but they don't do it on purpose because they want to look like each other.
Right.
When I say luxury brand,
right, because you establish familiarity with luxury.
Exactly. Right. So they want to look similar. That is done on purpose. Their typography, their interiors, their lighting, they sort of look similar because मैं उस store में गया, I'm like, oh, this looks like that luxurious brand.
Interesting.
Now I can connect the dots.
For example, if a jewelry store is made अंदर से graffiti लगा रखी है, it's
you
gonna
won't
like
connect to it.
Yeah.
You'll be like ये कुछ ज़्यादा ही नया हो गया है.
It has to be bright fluorescent lights की तुम्हारी आंखें, you're blinded.
Marble, शीशा, all that stuff.
Yeah, people behind counters, like a duplex setting of tables. Fucking crazy. And I never thought about this similarity वाला concept. That if you're doing a podcast, it should look like a podcast studio.
ये माइक बहुत, वो जो श्योर का माइक है ना, that is that familiar वाला ट्रिगर. हेडफोन, माइक, बिकॉज उन्होंने जो रोगन को देखा, अब वो आपको भी देखेंगे तो उन्होंने कनेक्ट कर लिया उनके ब्रेन में. आप एक
भाई ये पॉडकास्ट होता है.
अगर माइक है तो पॉडकास्ट होता है, अगर लेबल माइक है तो नहीं है.
हाँ, that's very interesting. That is more of a Tonight Show kind of vibe, where the audio thing is invisible. Yeah. That's crazy. A lot of these things are crazy. A lot of these insights are crazy. I'm just wondering, when you go to... You didn't tell me the Subko story, by the way. So you went to Subko, what happened then?
कि मुझे सबको क्यों नहीं मिला?
नहीं, you went to Subko, then what happened then? तेरा experience क्या था Subko coffee का? Because I know for sure, online तो बढ़िया है, but their physical experience really made me. और वहाँ का experience, I will tell you afterward, कि बारिस्ता ने मुझे क्या बताया. But you go first.
मैं खुद सबको नहीं गया. मैंने सबको से products अपने घर बुलाए.
हाँ.
And I saw how they did it, and I noticed very small details, and I think that is what their target audience is. They're looking for people who can appreciate their design, right? Because if I take my mom or dad, they'll be like, "Subko ya koi aur ho, we don't care," because we care about the coffee. They don't care कि box के ribbon पे क्या बना हुआ है. So I feel like they have paid immense attention to the experience of consuming the coffee. I haven't tasted the coffee, but that really matters to me. Because as I said, purchase से पहले का process and purchase के बाद का process also influences how many people come back to you. It is not just the purchase. In fact, मैंने भी जब whenever I send gifts, right, my gift is very well designed. There's a lot of design language going on there. पहला तो ये I put in a lot of time on the covering.
तेरे वो लिफाफे भी बड़े अच्छे हैं.
Yeah, because gift खोलने का experience is much better than the gift itself. मैं 2 layers के साथ भेजता हूँ. एक ट्रांसपेरेंट की परख है, फिर एक रैपिंग पेपर है. उस रैपिंग पेपर में भी 2 कलर्स है. तो जब आप उसको फाड़ते हो तो आपको लगता है अच्छा अंदर भी रंग है. देन देयर इज अ ब्लैक बॉक्स. ब्लैक बॉक्स पे कुछ भी प्रिंटेड नहीं है, बीच में सिर्फ मेरा लोगो है, क्योंकि आपका अटेंशन बिल्कुल बीच में जाएगा. आपने बॉक्स खोला, आपको लेटर मिला, आपको रियलाइज हुआ ये आपके लिए स्पेशलाइज्ड है. देन उस गिफ्ट के अंदर भी देयर आर 2 थिंग्स, मेजरली 2 थिंग्स. वन इज समथिंग दैट गिव्स यू इंस्टेंट प्लेजर, which is something sweet.
Chocolate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you take that, you associate sweetness with my name in your head. Second is a gift that has recurring value. So it's a pen.
I should send someone's balls. That would probably be like fitting for me.
Which one?
Like if I would do it, like I want someone to like be in fear of me or be disgusted by me, I will send किसी को. Just thinking about that, just thinking about design only. Yeah.
Then I usually send a pen or a notebook or a gratitude journal. Right, because that has recurring value. It stays with you for a longer run. पहले मैं shower gel भेजता था कि नहाते हुए मुझे याद करेगा.
Crazy, भाई. That's, I mean, obviously I'm going to steal all these ideas. Full disclaimer.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm wondering. So let me tell you the Subko story now. The reason I'm talking about it now on the podcast, free of cost, right, is because I went to the barista and I'm like, यार तुमने ये वाली कॉफ़ी बनाई कैसे? क्योंकि ना मैं अक्सर जब घर पे बनाता हूँ, I take a cold brew blend from the coffee, and then मैं कभी कभी cold brew नहीं बनानी होती. If I want to just consume it instantly, the sort of way you do it with instant coffee, मैं पानी गर्म करता हूँ, मैं कॉफ़ी उसके अंदर डालता हूँ, कॉफ़ी गर्म करता हूँ और फिर कहता हूँ, कहता है ऐसा मत करा करो सर, वो बहुत rancid बन जाती है, like it destroys the flavor.
Okay.
I had no idea. It's like the way to do it is पहले पानी गर्म करो, but not at boiling point, and then just like tea, add the coffee to it and let it simmer in it for 3 to 4 minutes. What I was doing is garam kara boiling point pe, coffee dali, फिर और garam kara, right? But it's sort of making the coffee. And then I had Anish Bhasin from Swami Drinks on my podcast. And I told him about this. Like, if you served me coffee like that, I would walk out because he's a big coffee fan. I was like, so when I went to Subko, because of this barista's advice, I was able to avoid a massive faux pas, right? Which really made me appreciate कि वो जो experience था मेरा. The coffee was fantastic. The experience was fantastic, and then the barista was also fantastic. So much so that it's lingering in my head still. There's an invisible brand loyalty that I'm following, even though अभी मैं उसकी coffee नहीं पी रहा हूँ. But given the chance and the accessibility, say if it comes on Amazon, I'd fucking buy it.
You're talking about them. That is what they want.
Yeah.
That is the biggest ROI that you get. Not just people consuming your product, but also talking about it. That is the only ROI that you should target. मैं भी लोगों को यही बोलता हूँ. I have no CV or no work online. Can you imagine? I am a designer, but I still get work. Why? Only because of word of mouth. When कोई मेरे friend circle में कोई बोलता है ना UX का काम है, UI का काम है, they refer me. They haven't even seen my work. Because word of mouth really helps you reach places जहाँ पे आपका.
But does it not get tiring fielding all these queries left and right?
About like design?
About design?
No, wait, what's the question?
So the question is, अब word of mouth है. Word of mouth के अंदर क्या होता है? For every query that is legit, that actually turns into business, there's a lot of fluff as well. Because a word of mouth है ना, तो हर चीज़ के लिए अंश वो appropriate level of challenge you will not always receive, 100%. Right?
100%. You need someone to reply to those messages.
Yeah.
You have to outsource that. I'm trying to outsource almost everything that I can.
Yeah, same. That's why I'm asking, because I also get a lot of messages. मैं सोचता हूँ कि यार Ambient podcast क्या होता है ना? The best example for that is tokenizing a word. It's like, if you remember the audio ad, think cat, think MBA guru, think cat, think MBA guru, like that. Think podcast, think Vinamre, think design, think Ansh. It's kind of like that. It's a lot of work though, because that's on a spectrum.
But that is the aim, right? Like that is my aim. I want to be the face of UX in India.
Yeah.
In the next 5 to 6 years. I don't necessarily want to become the best UX designer in the world.
But you should call yourself AUX. AUX.
Oh. Oh yeah, that is so cool.
If you can play around that. I don't know.
Abhinav also has no abnux.
Abnux. But that's obnoxious. I think that's Abhinav or UX is, I know Abhinav what it means. UX. But it could also just be obnoxious.
Yeah, but the aux idea is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, dekh le. अभी कर रहा है live.
You'll get royalty.
Done है bro. No, but I'm just wondering कि so back to Subko. So this thing happened, and when it comes to say people who create digital products, like we can call this product like a product, right? A service.
Yeah.
What are things people who are making digital products can do well? जिससे कि their touch points or their audiences keep talking about them, or for the lack of a better word, जो काम हम design से नहीं कर सकते, how can we do it with the product? Like how can we use some of the design principles to make what we do better?
Pick a product. You're talking about your show?
For example, let's talk about this.
Yeah. See, everyone wants something from you. So first you figure out what do people want from me. If you want to give value, you focus on value. If you want to give masti, you give masti. So first you pick, and you need to use a lot of stats for this because data helps you make better decisions.
It isn't. So what is the role of intuition in all of this then?
Because intuition tells you कि मुझे इस data में से क्या derive करना है, कौन से data को reject करना है, कौन से data को रखना है. Right? Because in the end, अगर मुझे data कह रहा है कि मेरे सारे consumers 18 से 20 years की age में है, but आपको पता है कि मेरा IQ तो 25 साल वाला भी समझ सकता है. Then again, now I have to rebrand myself. My intuition says that I have to rebrand myself, generate more data, and then take decisions on top of that. Right? So it is a very sensitive mixture of knowing what data is telling me and deciding कि should I go against the data or not. वहाँ पे अब आपकी intuition आएगी. But that is the second level. But to make anything popular, right, it is all about serving. And I've thought about this for a very long time.
You use the word serving, right?
Yeah.
I also use the same word. I think it should be a service. Content should be a service.
The only way that you can create wealth is through serving. And I've thought about this again and again. And I think Tagore ji का एक बहुत popular quote है कि a man who understands कि वो जो पेड़ को उगा रहा है वो उसकी छाया में कभी rest नहीं कर पाएगा. That man has at least started to understand the meaning of life. हम जो भी कर रहे हैं ना, हमें बहुत कम बेनिफिट्स मिलने वाले. इट्स द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन. यू एंड आई आर सिटिंग हियर. ये माइक किसी आदमी ने बनाया है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी किसी और ने बनाई है. एट दिस 1 second वी आर लेवरेजिंग इन्वेंशंस ऑफ हंड्रेड्स ऑफ पीपल. हम उनको थैंक्स भी नहीं बोलते.
थैंक्स भाइयों एंड बहनों.
So we are using a lot of technology right now which was made by other people. And they never knew कि उनके किए हुए actions का result यहाँ तक आएगा.
Right.
They never knew.
Look at all the sad authors who just died. And I was like, all the sad authors who died, who later on became cult hits.
Yeah. Dude, the person who made the camera.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Camera से कितना कुछ change हो गया है.
Yeah.
Film, entertainment, Instagram. Every single influencer in the world should
Uses
have a picture
camera. Yeah.
of the guy who invented the camera and like sort of worship him and say thanks to him.
But they don't.
They don't.
Yeah. They're like, भाई मार्क ज़करबर्ग हमारा नेता है. They think about that. Yeah. That's crazy. Wow, bro, you're giving me a lot of stuff to think about. But I also wonder at the same time कि with digital products and content, for example, they can get better cameras. They can make... Guys, क्या आपको पता है Amazon ने आज कमाए हैं $50 बिलियन और आप कैसे कमा सकते हैं? आइए एनालाइज करते हैं जेफ बेजोस की जर्नी. इस तरह का कंटेंट जो आता है आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा. Fucking hate it. But beyond that, like, what makes people stick? That's my real question.
Dopamine hits. Tanmay Bhatt is a genius at it. I study Tanmay Bhatt's live streams all the time. That guy knows how to tell a story. He knows how to keep you hooked.
For example, if I go like this, bam, that's a dopamine hit, right?
Yeah.
Unexpected.
Yeah. You can have confetti flowing in. पीछे से कोई फेंक रहा है, कुछ भी इधर उधर हो रहा है. You have people coming in. The more sounds you have, see, YouTube में I've noticed, हर field में actually there are some things that give you that 80-20 वाला returns, right? The Pareto's principle. In YouTube, it is sound. If you have good sound, that 20% is going to help you get the 80%.
Right.
If you have a wonderful camera, wonderful setup, but your mic is bad, they will shut down.
I really believe that. I thought it was the other way around. People don't give a fuck about 4K if your sound is horrible.
Yeah. Sound is very important.
Yeah.
In direction, right? So I know a lot of directors who want to become filmmakers, but they don't know editing. उनको काम ही नहीं मिलता. For them, learning basics of editing is very important because how will you show? आप पे पैसे है नहीं, आपने रिकॉर्ड कर लिया, आप एडिट नहीं करना जानते. अब आपको एडिटर को 10,000 रुपये देने टू मेक योर शो रील. 10,000 है नहीं, अब आप अटक गए. आपने एडिटर को बोला मेरे लिए ये कर दे, वो कह रहा है इसको करने में 10 दिन लगेंगे. आप कुछ बोल ही नहीं सकते बिकॉज यू डोंट नो हाउ इट वर्क्स. So for a director, little bit of editing is important. I have been in sales. I used to sell events. ऑनलाइन ऐसे
Tell me
phone.
about that.
So like in college only, right? Like I used to work for these clubs and chapters. So मैं लोगों के घर पे जा के used to sell events. So I realized that you have to be a good communicator. Event अच्छा करना is one part of the job, but you being a good communicator is the complementary skill that you have to add to get more sales.
How would you do that? Like, would you say कि यहाँ पे बहुत 10,000 बंदी आएंगे, बहुत बढ़िया music होगा, all of that? Like, what would be something that you do to sell a good event?
A lot of things come into play, to be honest. And मैं बहुत अजीब चीज़ों पे ध्यान देता हूँ. मैं इवेंट पे ध्यान ही नहीं देता. मैं देखता हूँ कि मैं किस टाइम पे उस पे जा रहा हूँ, वो क्या कर रहा है, राइट? हु डू आई टॉक टू? तो अगर मैं एक रूम में गया जहाँ पे 6 लोग हैं, तो मैं 6 में से सिर्फ 2 को ही बेचता हूँ और 2 पे ही ध्यान देता हूँ, और बाकी 4 को कॉम्प्लेक्स हो जाता है कि हमें देख के क्यों नहीं बेच रहा.
Because अगर 6 को बेचेगा, ऑफर डाइल्यूट हो जाएगा और they would be resistant to you कि बेचने आया है.
Yeah. And then I never oversell. I always give them like a taste of it and say buy.
What would be some examples of overselling? Like, how would someone oversell?
It is literally saying that you have to buy this. या ले लो, बहुत बढ़िया है. They will never do that. In fact, I always work on things जो मेरी pitch से पहले वहाँ तक पहुँच जाए. Right? For example, I sent you that box. मैं मिला भी नहीं हूँ. वहीं से मैंने अपने आप को बेचना शुरू कर दिया था.
भाई मैं अंशु.
राइट तो मैं पहले से ही बेचना शुरू कर देता हूँ. उस दिन अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आप एक रैंडम आदमी से मिलोगे और आप उसको कुछ बेच दो, कि दैट इज नॉट गोना हैपन, बिकॉज एवरीवन बाइज समथिंग व्हेन दे थिंक इट्स अ बार्गेन. अगर आप 10 लाख की जैकेट खरीद रहे हो, 10 लाख नहीं चलो, अगर आप 1 लाख का फ़ोन खरीद रहे हो, आपको पता है कि मुझे इससे 1,10,000 की ही वैल्यू मिलेगी. You still think in your mind that it's a bargain.
Like perceptions for that matter. If you want to go in a nice car, बस तुम्हें पता है वो गाड़ी ले जाके you can close a deal that's worth like 10x more.
For a lot of people that is an asset. मुझे जब लोग बोलते हैं ना कि so there's this culture in tech, right? कि तुम महंगे कपड़े क्यों खरीदो? These are liabilities. गाड़ी is a liability. Phone is a liability. कपड़े is a liability. But the thing is, it is liability for people who are just spending on it. I know some people जिनका काम ही यही है.
खर्चा.
They show off. They get more deals. Because there are some people who will not accept them until unless they have that
until they
vibe.
show that they're of the same pedigree.
Yeah. They have to come into
sad but true वाला moment है ये.
Yeah. यहाँ पे ज़्यादा है. Delhi में it is more prevalent. बाहर Bombay में I loved Bombay.
Yeah, first time there?
Yeah. Oh man, I had such a good time.
Yeah.
I had the best time.
Everyone wants to work and work together.
Yeah. Very welcoming, very practical. कोई घमंड नहीं. And these people would be pretty successful.
Yeah.
Pretty successful.
But घमंड की दुनिया में चलने में भी मजे आते हैं. There's all these equations that you have to manage.
You learn a lot.
It's easier for Delhi folk to dominate Mumbai.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what, not to make generalizations, they don't know what strong assertions look like.
Yeah. नहीं Delhi वाले तो यार like Palika is the best MBA coaching ever. Like every time I go to Palika, there's so much to learn from those salesmen. Chani Chowk हो गया, Palika हो गया, like crazy. You watch
Anmol Babbar, right? Anmol Babbar तो सीखते और शेयर करता है. He's one of the funniest guys I've met in my life.
I think he deserves 100x more followers.
Yeah, हाँ.
Like guys, please follow Anmol Babbar. This is a genuine shout out.
बनाता नहीं है. Now he's working at iPlex, so he's full time busy there.
He's coming with good content. I spoke to him.
अच्छा.
He's been working on it. We'll see some good stuff.
कहता मतलब the best one is sell me this pen. Have you watched that?
Yeah.
भैया 4 सेकंड में घोड़े पे पेन है हथौड़े से. भैया ट्राइमेक्स ज़्यादा सेक्स है इसमें. क्या है? Fuck bro, it's like
he is too good.
शाम का टाइम है, धंधे का टाइम है, झूठ नहीं बोलूंगा. मैंने लिया था 15 रुपए में, लेकिन आपके लिए सिर्फ 10 रुपए. And then DiCaprio was like, बोसड़ी के. Great bro. ऐसा तो मैंने कभी भी नहीं देखा. He's not optimizing for virality. He's just putting out his honest observations about the world. Not like every Delhi boy be like वो जो उस तरह का shareable, easy. I'm not saying that content is bad, but it takes a rare guy to say कि शुक्रिया
that reel मैंने जितनी बारी देख लिया. Very few people have noticed this, no? तो I think मैं East Delhi से हूँ, right? So I see very much of this. मैं उसका content इतना relate करता है ना मुझे, क्योंकि उसने एक बार कोई मेहंदी कोन पे बनाया था कि मैडम जी इससे पहले मैं बेकरी में काम करता था. हैप्पी बर्थडे. Anil नहीं है, Anil. And the way he said Anil, it's so great bro. It's so great. He's a genius.
He's one of my funniest friends. हम लोग साथ में वेकेशन पे गए थे 2-3 दिन के लिए तीर्थान. पैंचो वहाँ पे जाके भी ऐसे अतरंगी जोक मारता था, पूरे दिन मेरे पेट में दर्द होता था.
नहीं, there are 4-5 people जिनको मैं 2020 में मैंने फॉलो करना शुरू करा. अनमोल was there, चेतन गोयल was there, सूफिया is there, आपका जगजोत सिंह.
Yeah, I love Jugs as well. Yeah.
Oh man,
hardest working parody actor ever.
Oh man, he does too much effort. Like he's been working super hard. Being a comedian is very difficult.
Yeah. चेतन को मैंने बोला, चेतन बिकम अ बनिया सुपरस्टार, सब कुछ छोड़ दे, बनिया मार्केट आप कैप्चर कर ले.
Captured that market.
I literally said, go to your bio, put I'm gonna be the next Bollywood बनिया star.
Yeah.
भैंचो उसने डाल दिया. मैं कहा bro, more power to you. Because I said bro, look, there's a market. हमने so basically क्या हुआ, we were just discussing. It's like all this बनिया stuff works very well because there's clearly a market that is not being spoken to.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone is speaking to whatever is the common thread amongst all the people who live in and around Delhi NCR. But the common thread is what? Delhi aggression, butter chicken, it isn't enough. Those tropes have been so massively overused that you need something more. You need to reach out to specific niche communities.
Yeah.
भाई डिजाइनर हो, मैं तुम्हारा हूँ और मैं हिंदी में तुम्हारा हूँ. Which is what you do, right? So it's like, he's speaking to me in the language I know. I'm more likely to follow him because English में तो लोग सुना ही रहे हैं, right? There's the future and all those guys already doing it, right?
Yeah.
So, वो तो, and you know, like a community being spoken to from a non-typical traditional guy. क्योंकि ज़्यादातर ऐसे होता है ना कि ट्रेडिशनल लोग ही बोलते हैं कि पंजाबी समाज के सभी लोगों को मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, इस तरह के लोग होते हैं ना. You get like a fun, quirky person addressing the community. That's like, I mean.
But it is so important to do something very hatke. Right, like you've not seen my videos, but मैंने क्या किया था beginning.
No, I've seen your videos.
Like हर video के end में there's a skit. Anmol भी था in one of those skits.
हाँ.
So when I was learning design, I realized that I was having some very weird conversations with parents, family members. क्योंकि मैं सबको बोला मुझे UX design करना है, engineering छोड़नी है. तो सबको लगा मैं fashion design करने वाला हूँ. That is their thing. Design means fashion. So मेरे हर एपिसोड के एंड में I had to recreate those conversations that I had with these people.
Right.
जहाँ पे पेमेंट रुक गई हो गया. And people love that. मैं अपना वॉच टाइम देखता हूँ, so people skip to that skit directly. वो सीखते ही नहीं जो मैं सिखा रहा हूँ बीच में, because people want that storytelling aspect of things in learning.
Right.
हम थक गए हैं स्लाइड्स देख के. Teach us through stories.
Right.
Don't give us ज्ञान.
There's a funny meme I was watching yesterday, जहाँ पे ना एक कोचिंग सेंटर था. So, I don't know, you've done engineering, right? So F equal to MA is one formula.
Yeah.
E equal to MC square is one formula.
Yeah.
एक तरफ न्यूटन, एक तरफ कोई और बंदा है. एक बंदा बिहारी में कहता है, ये एक दूसरे को गलिया रहे हैं, fuck mother chod, e mother chod, fuck mother chod, e mother chod. How will kids not forget that?
100%.
Will not remember that. They will of course remember it. कि हाँ भाई, F equal to MA, E equal to it's like fuck mother chod, e mother chod. Yeah.
मैंने वॉल्टर आइजसन का एक पॉडकास्ट सुना था विद टिम फेरिस.
हाँ.
So उसमें भी वो यही कह रहे थे.
Who is this guy? Sir Walter Isaacson. What is he known for?
जॉब्स की लिखी बुक उन्होंने.
अच्छा, he's the famous biographer. Right. He's written a bunch of those. Yeah.
Yeah, a very good guy. Like he writes very well. I love his books. So he was also telling the same, that everyone enjoys a storyteller. Like don't be a preacher. Tell a story. And that is why mythologies work so well. Right?
Yeah.
I've learned so much from the stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata. अगर मुझे कोई एक लिस्ट दे देता ज्ञान की, तो शायद मैं भूल ही जाता.
Yeah. Information as a bunch of bullet points doesn't work as well. Yeah.
And you also put yourself in the character. You go through the emotions. That emotions sort of build that memory, like muscle memory आ जाती है.
You watch cartoon Ramayana?
I have the legendary, the Japanese.
It's the only complete version of the Ramayana in my head, and I'm so glad that's the case.
Oh man, that film was amazing.
Makes me cry every single time.
The sound, the music, the pace.
Have you listened to Ravan ka apna theme track? He's got a separate theme track. It's on YouTube.
No.
240p quality, but it's worth listening to.
Oh, man.
Why? Because you remember Shri Raghuvar ki vanar sena se tu baand rahi.
But man, what a movie. मुझे अभी भी goosebumps आ रहे हैं सोच के.
So it was such a heroic film. It was such a heroic, epic. That's the right word, right? Like पूरे हजारों लोग जा रहे हैं कि भाई हम बचाएंगे सीता मैया को. और वो जिस तरह से even the narration, they've got some of the best actors like Shatrughan Sinha, Amrish Puri, all the Om Puri, I guess.
Oh yeah, Amrish Puri did such a good job.
As Ravan, right? So the song for Ravan though is, so you know like castle होता है, castle was moat होता है जहाँ पे पानी होता है, right? So to protect yourself from invaders. So रावण के castle के अंदर से वो walkways निकल के आते हैं and they connect to the outside of the moat. so the armies can run out. और ना नगाड़े बजते हैं धुम धुम. It starts with जय लंकेश्वर, जय राक्षसपति महाकाल, जय जय जंग में महापति राक्षस राजा, जय जय. Then there's like सारे काटे छटपट छटपट स्वाहा कर दे, झटपट झटपट राक्षस राजा की जय जय. फिर होता है मारे काटे झटपट रक्त भी सारा पी जाए. मतलब पैंजो. एंड यूर लाइक हाँ मैं राक्षस हूँ. इन दैट मोमेंट यूर लाइक यस आई एम अ फकिंग राक्षस, लेट्स गो. किसको मारना है, कौन सा बंदर मारना है, मुझे बताओ. बट दैट्स द एटीट्यूड ऑफ दैट फिल्म. इट रियली जस्ट हुक्स यू इन.
Dude, I love soundtracks. पता है मैं घंटों तक Hans Zimmer सुनता था पहले पढ़ते हुए.
He's the OG soundtrack guy.
Yeah, dude, what a genius.
Yeah.
Like it is amazing what sound can do, right? Without communicating through lyrics, without words. सोचो sound में कितना दम है, instruments में कितना दम है.
Right.
कि आप बिना picture देखे imagine कर सकते हो कि ये कहाँ use हो रहा है.
Have you listened to ambient music?
No.
Ambient music.
What is that?
जैसे बोलते हैं ना bro, what is the ambience of a room? If you ever like talk to sound guys, they often record the room ambience in the dialogue.
ऐसा empty room.
जैसे कि you're making a soundtrack, right? For example, let's just say this podcast, हमें already room ambience record हो रही है because these mics capture that. Okay. But अगर ये completely soundproofed होता ना, तो it'd be harder. तो our voices would exist in a silo, in isolation. For example, अगर इस रूम में हम let's talk about like a movie scene. अगर इस रूम में movie scene record कर रहे हैं, तेरा डायलॉग मेरा डायलॉग, ठीक है, ऐसे करने की आवाज़ अगर मैं कह रहा हूँ सुन अंश, ठीक है, देन और कुछ है नहीं. अ फोर्थ साउंड दैट दे विल रिकॉर्ड इज द साउंड ऑफ द रूम, सो दैट इट फिल्स अप द बैकग्राउंड. अदरवाइज ऐसा लगेगा कि वो जो आवाज़ें रिकॉर्ड करी गई है ना, वो आइसोलेशन में रिकॉर्ड करी गई हैं. दैट्स रूम एम्बियंस.
आई यूज्ड टू डू दैट इन माय एडिटिंग. मैं ये करता था.
अच्छा.
आई डिडंट नो कि इसको ये बोलते हैं. मैं पंखा की आवाज़ या हवा की भी आवाज़ चाहिए होती है पीछे वीडियो में.
हाँ.
इफ यू आर पुटिंग लेयर्स डिफरेंटली you need that. It's called white noise. मुझे तो लगता था white noise है.
अच्छा.
But now it's called ambient noise.
Yeah, but that is different. It's not noise. It's just the sound of the room.
It's not noise only, but उसको white noise is you can't even hear it.
Right. Okay.
It's space.
Yes. It's the sound of space.
It's the sound of.
But you need it in audio track because वो recognize नहीं करता कि तुम room में बैठे हो.
Yeah.
But there's this guy, Brian Eno, and he's made wonderful stuff. He's the king of ambient music. कि मतलब imagine कि music for listening to at airports. तो like what kind of music would you listen to at airports? Ambience पीछे की वो decide करता है. हम जैसे बोलते हैं ना bro, इस कैफे की ambience बड़ी अच्छी है. We talk about the lights, we talk about the aesthetic, we also talk about the sound of the crowd, if it's pleasing to the ears or not.
Oh, yeah.
Then we talk about the music, right? If you obviously notice something that I actually wanted to bring this up to you is, have you noticed how pehle in the background at most upscale establishments in Delhi, they would play jazz. Slowly, it's transitioning to deep house. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. But hotels में नहीं अभी भी.
No, I noticed it more hotel in Gurgaon. But for the most part, yeah. Music plays a huge role in it. Bad music.
Even scent, like how it smells. आप घुसे आपको कैसी खुशबू है. Like subway की एक distinct smell है. आपको याद आ जाता है कि मैं subway में हूँ. राइट. घुसते ही आपको पता है मैं सब वो चीज़ी सी उनकी
माइक को थोड़ा सा पास कर ले. हाँ.
या आई थिंक दे स्प्रे समथिंग. हम 100%
या आई एम प्रीटी श्योर सुपरमार्केट्स के अंदर ऐसा होता है. बट आई डिड नॉट नो कि सबवे के अंदर भी ऐसा होता है. फॉर एग्जांपल लाइक
बट ऑल सबवे स्मेल द सेम. एवरी सबवे.
I stopped going there once I realized it's not healthy food at all.
There has to be some spray.
Yeah.
But you know when you say ना ये white noise हो गया, ये scent हो गया, even though we want like perfect stuff, we often enjoy imperfections as well, very subtle imperfections. जैसे अभी you said कि अगर गाने में वो space का आवाज़ ना हो, looks empty, right? अभी if you tell a computer to make a human face that is perfect, you will not find it pretty. We actually want थोड़ा सा imperfection. जैसे clouds है. Are clouds well designed? Can you say that they are well designed? They are random, but there is some constraint to the randomness as well. पहाड़ों में भी there's this concept called Perlin noise. तो एक मूवी आई थी ट्रॉय, पर्लिन नॉइज. ट्रॉय करके एक ट्रॉन, नॉट ट्रॉय, ट्रॉन लाइक अ डिजिटल थिंग, राइट? GTA में भी यही यूज होता है. तो अगर आपको गेम में पेड़ बनाने हैं या घास बनानी है, क्लाउड्स बनाने हैं मास स्केल पे, इट इज रैंडम बट टू अ सर्टन एक्सटेंट, राइट? देयर इज क्लाउड ऐसा तो नहीं कि ट्रायंगल ऐसे जिगजैग दिखेगा. इट इज रैंडम बट देयर इज सम कंस्ट्रेंट टू द रैंडमनेस. It is created through this algorithm called Perlin noise. उसको पर्लिन नॉइज कहते हैं कि मैं लाखों पेड़ जनरेट कर सकता हूँ जो कभी एक जैसे नहीं दिखेंगे. दे आर रैंडम बट विद इन कंस्ट्रेंट, सो यू कांट कॉल इट कम्प्लीटली रैंडम.
But it helps with game design because
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं लगेगा wow यार कितना boring
But
depressing
nature is
game है.
doing this, no? Gaming world is replicating reality. सारे clouds, सारे popcorns, no two popcorns would look identical ever.
Right.
How is it happening? Can we truly call it random? Because it's not truly random. There are some properties that are constrained.
Right, like if you try to make
Even
something.
life, मैं जब popcorn, मैं कभी popcorn खाता हूँ, I think about life there.
हाँ.
Because is life truly random? Because अगर मैं कोई भी event को पकड़ूँ and उस event को lead होते हुए सारी situations को पीछे करूँ, rewind करूँ और वहाँ पे एक CCTV कैमरा लगा दूँ, then through information I can predict everything. I can see कि it is not a coincidence. I can see. If you have information, you can figure out कि ये actually में random नहीं था. I can see हम यहाँ तक कैसे पहुँचे, right? If you could go back in time.
You attribute causes to things and then you don't call it random.
Yeah.
But it's completely likely that it could be random.
Exactly.
It's your need for pattern recognition to make sense of things.
Your unawareness tells you that it's random. But in reality, nothing could be random. अगर random होता, things would break.
I mean, I don't know too much about that. I've kind of thought about that sometimes कि क्या ये सब random है? Then I'm like, इससे बढ़िया काम ही करते हैं. That's my default to all existential crisis. By the way, I just think कि either take rest or work. There is no point thinking about consciousness unless you're on psychedelics. That's the only or meditating. That's the only logical way to do. Because I found that it's great to ponder the cosmos, but it's even better to create it in something.
But I'll tell you why it's important to study the cause wala effect, because I'm not saying you have to figure out why are we here. You have to become better at predicting where will you be. If you look at history, if you see pattern recognition, यहाँ तक कैसे है आपको समझ आ गया, तो you will get better at saying कि कल कहाँ होंगे हम. You can't do that until unless you go पीछे जाके.
I saw a meme to remember the cartoon The Jetsons. Briefly एक cartoon आता था. Some shitty cartoon. That's why we don't remember any of the dialogues. You know for a fact it's shitty because the concept was great. Space में हवा में घर हैं. They're using those space cars.
Like a blue vibe.
It's the Jetson family that lives in this space house, right? And you know those fandoms होते हैं वो games के that if you ever want to study more about a character, let's say Tommy Vercetti from GTA Vice City, तो तुम खोल के उसकी bio पढ़ सकते हो कौन सी games में आया था. I do that all the time, right? So someone posted an image of that online where it's like आज because today is 31st, आज first हो गया ना, कल post करा था. By the way, guys, somewhere around the world, Frederick Jetson is about to be born. क्योंकि उसमें उसकी birth date लिखी हुई थी 31 जुलाई 2022. The fact that it was made in अभी I'm assuming 50s, 60s or 70s जब भी बना था. This was the future for them.
Oh man.
The fact that it's a day before we're recording this and he was supposed to be born here is like, that's crazy.
Have you seen Entourage?
Entourage.
The show.
All my agency friends, manager friends swear by it. I haven't seen it though.
It's a very good show and उसके अंदर there's this main character called Ari.
Ari Gold.
Ari Gold की autobiography खरीदी मैंने. It is a fictional autobiography. They have created a backstory around that character. That book is brilliant. I recommend that book to everyone.
It's a good promotional tool as well, right?
But it came way after the show became successful. When the show became successful, then people bought. Because they were like, this is such a cool character, we want to see कि इसकी story क्या है. उसका author भी किसी को नहीं पता. They say Ari Gold ने लिखी है.
Yeah, ये मेरे को tell me about this transmedia thing. For example, the Avengers franchise. Now, full disclaimer, I am very ignorant about the franchise. I haven't watched anything beyond the first Avengers. Realistically speaking, मेरे को interest नहीं था, ठीक है? Like many people, I'm not really interested in that. What is fascinating for me is that you take one film, which is a reproduction of the comic. उसी से आप टॉयज बनाते हो, उसी से आप गेम्स बनाते हो, उसी से आप कोई और एक्सपीरियंसेस बनाते हो, राइट? सो यू हैव वन IP essentially that can be molded into different things. As modern creators of things, how can we do it? Because लोगों की प्रॉब्लम होती है, oh bro, I made like the most content creators can arrive at is कि मेरा macro content था, उसको micro पे repurpose कर दिया. But how can people create multiple ways from the same thing? Like Jack Butcher says, right? कि ये तुम्हारा कुछ like sawdust होता है, then proof of work होता है. I'm forgetting what he says. Find 1,000 ways to say the same thing. That's the idea.
नहीं, dude, Marvel is such a genius organization. I keep thinking about them and it's so funny because I know some people, अगर वो movie देखते हैं, movie में कोई मर जाता है, they cry, they literally cry. उनके खानदान में कोई मरता है उनको इतना दुख नहीं होता, खुद का नॉन मरता है तो नहीं दुख होता, right? So they have sort of created this narrative in your heads, and think about it, right? Like these characters were meant for kids. And I love toy stores. I regularly go to Hamleys just to figure out how they are selling toys, because अगर आपको एक करोड़पति आदमी से 25,000 रुपये निकलवाने हैं, the only way to do it is through his kid. अगर बच्चे को वो 20,000 का हॉट व्हील्स का सेट चाहिए तो वो बिलियनर मानेगा. आप बिलियनर को बोलो ये खरीद ले 20,000 का खिलौना, वो कभी नहीं खरीदेगा. इतना हाई मार्जिन होता है खिलौनों में. बट व्हेन यू टारगेट किड्स, यू इनडायरेक्टली टारगेट देयर पेरेंट्स. इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू सेल समथिंग विच इज़ प्लास्टिक, जिसमें मार्जिन इतना ज़्यादा हो, बट यू डू इट थ्रू किड्स. एंड दैट इज़ वाई सुपर हीरो थिंग्स सेल लाइक क्रेजी. अब तो क्या हो रहा है कि बच्चे नहीं, अब बड़े लोग भी are sort of relating to it, because they've changed the narrative. They've added very high production quality. They've added stories that relate to anxiety, stress, fear of losing someone. So they are picking segments that are relevant to the mature audiences as well. And look at the scale at which they do things, right? Every story is so scalable. They have characters and they have different dimensions. They have control of time. They have control of dimensions. They can kill people and bring back people as well. So उनके पास इतना scalable framework है that they can make movies for years and years, and you can't deny it. Because imagine, we can't do it in Bollywood because we don't have control over time, the universe. Or
We
the
don't have a
cosmos.
franchise also that allows for that. We don't have a multi-hero franchise.
Because I mean, there are issues. So I was watching Coffee with Karan, and I think it was an episode of Akshay Kumar and Karan Johar, and they were discussing the same thing, that you would find very few Bollywood actors saying yes to a multi-hero movie, right? But I think मैंने last time कौन सी देखी थी, so Akshay Kumar spoke about जानी दुश्मन. And I love जानी दुश्मन, by the way.
Fucking love it. What
love
a film. Akshay Kumar is one of the several characters of not significant importance.
I love that movie. I really loved it. And he was like, people should do more movies like that. But I think I can understand कि producers के लिए भी difficult हो जाता होगा, right? Because like to manage.
उस time पे आसान था because the plot was trash. But नहीं, actually no. It was fun then.
Way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Way ahead of its time.
नागिन डचने आए हैं दोस्तों को, हर कोई अपना अलग. Its Final Destination meets Indian hoax.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Too good. Have you seen No Smoking? John
I've
Abrams?
heard of it. I haven't watched it.
Your life will change. It is that good.
Yeah.
Way ahead of its time.
Will someone who smokes stop smoking?
No.
No.
It is not about leaving smoking at all. That is
Okay.
the irony. Dude, it is too good.
Really?
It is too good. It's there on Netflix. जब मैंने देखी थी, I was simply blown away कि ये उस टाइम पे ये स्टोरी कैसे बन गई. अभी भी लॉन्च हो कि अभी भी लोगों को आधों को समझ नहीं आएगी. It is
I'm
that
gonna
good.
watch it. Tell me something, for everyone watching and listening. What can people do to acquire novel experiences like you have?
I think you firstly have to become good at one skill. Pick one skill, become really good at it. Otherwise, people will not pay attention to you. कुछ भी उठा लो, because you need something to offer. या कुछ तो काम दिखाओगे ना, बोलो कि आप क्या करते हो. सबसे पहले Instagram खोलेगा, देखेगा चलो 10 के followers है, अब इसको attention दे सकता हूँ मैं, right? So Instagram is just one way. You have to figure out one skill जिसके बारे में आप easily बात कर सकते हो. Otherwise, they'll be like it's all talk. Once you pick that skill, focus on yourself. When I say yourself, focus on your fitness, your speech, how you walk, because all of these things influence how you think about yourself. When you change the way how you see yourself, it reflects in your persona, and then other people will follow along. जो बच्चे बहुत shy होते हैं, जिनको अपने अंदर confidence नहीं होता, उनकी personality में दिखता है, other people catch on that energy and then they behave in the same way. Then third, be in the right geography. Geography is very important.
I believe that.
हम दिल्ली में हैं, we are very blessed. जो दिल्ली, NCR, बैंगलोर, बॉम्बे में है, they have opportunities जो बाकी शहरों के लोगों को मिल ही नहीं सकती virtually. So be in the right geography. And in the end, rely on luck and try to improve your luck. And you know, Naval talks about this all the time.
How do you improve your luck?
So I simply follow what Naval says, right? Like you build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. So I regularly focus on the who and not just the what. So if I want to become fit, I'm not just focusing about going to the gym. I am trying to behave like a person who's fit.
Atomic Habits. Let's go.
I haven't read Atomic Habits.
Same idea. You have to start believing that you are the person who goes to the gym. Yes.
Yeah, you have to focus on the who.
Yeah.
Right? Because once you do that, अब आप mentally shift हो गए हो. Right? And secondly, you sort of have to understand that if you are valuable, other people would want more associations with you, right? So have you heard that story, Naval, ki wo deep sea underwater diving wali story?
No.
So
Tell me
he
about
gives
it.
a very interesting example. He's like, imagine you're the world's best underwater deep sea scuba diver. It's your passion, you've been practicing it. Some guy at the far edge realizes that there's a deep treasure hidden in the ocean by luck. By luck उसको समझ आ गया कि ओशन के इस पॉइंट पे एक ट्रेजर छुपा हुआ है, उसको पता है, बट उसने तो आज तक कभी डीप सी अंडर वाटर स्कूबा डाइविंग करी नहीं है, तो ही कांट रीच दैट ट्रेजर. वो लोगों से पूछेगा और आपका नाम आएगा बिकॉज यू आर द बेस्ट एट इट. सो नाउ हुआ ये कि हिज लक बिकेम योर लक. He will give you a piece of the treasure because you are that passage, you are the gateway to that treasure. So if you are useful as a professional person, other companies will want to work with you. अब अगर मैं डिज़ाइनर हूँ और मैं एक अच्छा डिज़ाइनर हूँ, एक entrepreneur को आइडिया आया by luck or whatever it is, but he wants me to execute that idea. So his luck became my luck. The better you get, और लोगों की luck आपकी luck बन जाएगी. And that is how you keep becoming luckier.
Fantastic. What a fun time. For real, for real, for real. Bro.
How long has it been?
It's been 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours? I thought 60 minutes max.
You've been very articulate. बहुत मजे आए. I would love to do this again. I really mean that.
Done.
Yeah. People can follow you on Ansh Mehra.
.work.
.work. Not .play. Anshmehra.work on Instagram. YouTube channel pe Ansh Mehra. And you have a Medium, of course. What else?
It's just YouTube and Instagram.
YouTube and Instagram, ठीक है.
If ever you want an app, you can always let me know because I help people design apps.
Let's go. ठीक है. So this was Ansh Mehra from Ansh Mehra YouTube channel and Ansh Mehra of Gifts and Ansh Mehra of Events. Obviously, you can subscribe to Dostcast. We'll see you all next Tuesday and Friday whenever the next episode releases. Bye-bye.